Christopher Robin, what exactly is doing nothing?
Well, I'm told it means going along, listening to all the things you can't hear, and not bothering.
When I'm with you, I'm with you. When I'm with you, I'm with you. Forever and ever, all alone on the moon, and you will always answer. Forever, forever and ever, all alone on the moon.
Listening to all the things you can't hear. No matter what I could always be together. You should know. Always be together. No matter what I could always be together. Always be together. No matter what I could always be together. You should know. Always be together. No matter what I could always be together.
Every summer, wherever you ever, every summer, and you will always answer. Every summer, wherever you ever, every summer, find me. When I'm with you, I'm with you. When I'm with you, I'm with you.
Remember,
Forever and ever, all alone on the moon, and you will always answer. Forever and ever, all alone on the moon.
I wanna stay like this. No matter what I could always be together. You should know. Always be together. No matter what I could always be together. Always be together. No matter what I could always be together. You should know. Always be together. No matter what I could always be together. Always be together.
Every summer, wherever you ever, every summer, and you will always answer. Every summer, wherever you ever, every summer, find me.
No matter what I could always be together. You should know. Always be together. No matter what I could always be together. Always be together. No matter what I could always be together. You should know. Always be together. No matter what I could always be together. Always be together.
Anywhere.
Well, hello, chat. Welcome to another episode of Morning Nonsense. Hope you're all doing fantastic. Hope you're all doing absolutely fantastic. And today, I have a very special guest with me today. I want everyone to welcome Mr. Ethan Van Sciver, the
Well,
one, the
hello.
only Caesar.
Yeah, it's great to be with you. I should be going to bed right now, Lit Dev, but my wife reminded me that we ordered a dumpster. It's going to be here. She's like, "You got to be awake," and I was like, "Well, I better go on the Lit Dev show."
Yeah, we'll wake you up. We'll wake you up. That's what we're here for. How are you doing this morning? Hopefully, it's at least all right.
I'm doing okay. It's life is hard. It's hard being me, but I'm surviving. I'm here. Hello
That's
to the
good.
chat. Hail chat.
That's good. I'm kind of relieved that you're not doing great just yet. And I'll tell you why. And it's because the stream, I always have these streams because I want to make people's days better. And if you're already great, it's going to be a lot harder on my end,
You're like the morning DJ, sinister morning DJ.
Oh, he's the most sinister, the most villainous DJ you will ever meet.
God, I'm all a buzz. I'm all a Twitter. Let's get moving. Let's see what's going on in the world right now.
Fantastic. I got some interesting stuff because I've heard rumor that you are a Star Wars fan, some of a Star Wars fan, a sizable Star Wars fan, a fan of size, we'll say.
Are you trying to say that you're a fat Star Wars freak? Yes. Of course I am. Of course.
Well, don't worry. We have some interesting things to go over today. As you will know, if the nonsense from the mainstream media just does not stop. It just does not stop. If you look away for like 5 minutes, it doubles in size. So it's ridiculous. It's like a feminist on like who just fell off the wagon. It doubles in size every 5 minutes. It's quite frankly ridiculous. But it's good for us. It's good for us, I have to say. It gives us something to laugh at. No, Archmage, hello LD, hello Archmage, welcome. Semantic Dragon, Cecil doxing. I don't know. Spitfire, welcome Spitfire. I know it was Spitfire's birthday a few days ago. I think maybe last week. Morning, everyone. Barely made it in time. Well, you made it. You're here. Welcome.
Wow.
Let's see. Morning, Mark in 3D. Welcome. Good to see you, Ethan. All right, good to see you, Mark in 3D. Hello there, Gary Stu. Welcome, Gary Stu. I'm glad to see that you're alive again. You know what a Gary Stu is, Ethan? Mr.
Yeah, it's the male version of a Mary Sue.
Right.
But we don't make those. I mean, those barely exist, right? I mean, that like feminists and SJWs create Mary Sues.
Mm-hmm.
Do we ever create? Have we ever had a Gary Stu? Is there an example of one?
There is, as far as I know, as far as I've been told, in anime, there are a few Gary Stews in anime. Oh, and Wesley Crusher, I think, would qualify as a Gary Stew. Of course, he's played by Will Wheaton. You know.
You want to pump out more soy boys that look like Will Wheaton? This is the inevitable result of all of this. This is where we're going. This is why we fight so hard. Yeah. We want to avoid making more Will Wheatons.
We want to avoid more soy boys because soy boys bring bad times, as the old saying goes. You know, tough times make tough men. Tough men bring good times, and good times make soy boys, and soy boys bring tough times. They don't want to repeat that cycle again. You need to get rid of the soy boys. Prevent more being made. And see, Nef Champion says, "Good morning, LD. Hail EVS. Good morning, Nef Champion. Glad you can make it." Let's see here. Demon with that sword. Gary Stews are quite rare due to the fact that they are not socially acceptable. Oh yeah, that's right. I mean, if you make a male character too powerful these days, you kind of get canceled immediately, don't you? Can't have that. See, Ben Z. Good morning, Litcher Devil, and y'all. And y'all. Well, good morning, Ben Z. Good morning. Okay, so I have a question for you, EVS, real quick. Do you know anything about Alex Jones?
Yeah, I know a little bit about him. I've watched his show a couple of times. I was concerned. People told me that frogs were becoming homosexuals, and I wanted to know who was making that happen. And according to Alex Jones, they were turning the freaking frogs gay.
It's always they. They always have a trick up their sleeve, don't they?
Yeah, I'm sick of they.
But recently, we watched a recent episode of Alex Jones. He likes Dr. Alpha. He actually likes Dr. Alpha. Check this out.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Info Battalion. We are live with the scariest news. Washington liberals and their pet Gestapo in tights, aka those flying Nazis we call superheroes, floating around over our heads, watching everything we do like some kind of kinky, degenerate big brother, never wanted you to know. And you're about to hear it first and hear it live on Info Battalion. But before we get into that, I wanted to talk about something that I know even some of you might find controversial. But you come to me for the uncensored, unbridled truth, and that's what I'm here to give you, folks. Dr. Alpha is considered the most dangerous supervillain of our time. The lamestream media wants you to believe this guy's a monster. They want you to hate him. Now, sure, he's done some bad things. Built a doom cannon on the moon, vandalized the Mona Lisa, set off a nuke, traded hostages for the rights to Star Wars. But what was
what'd you say?
I said, whoa.
Yeah.
He did all that.
Oh, yeah, he did all of that. Actually, I could actually show you that one where he traded hostages for the rights of Star Wars. But we'll see what Alex Jones has to say, and I can totally show you that little incident.
CIA was busy microchipping your kids. Dr. Alpha was busy microchipping the CIA. Ladies and gentlemen, I live in fear for the day my little girl won't have any rights left because the communists voted them all away. But I look to the news and see Dr. Alpha spitting in the faces of the devils who run the White House. And remember when he kidnapped that one vegan actress from Los Angeles and he made her eat a pound of hamburger on live television? Now that is always a classic. What I'm trying to say, folks, is while red-blooded patriots like myself lie awake at night waiting for the commies and capes to knock down my door and drag my children off to the glue factory, Dr. Alpha has the government and those Hollywood elites lying awake in fear. He's the one guy they can't stop. Dr. Alpha is a tyrant's worst nightmare. He's the sword of Damocles swinging over the heads of those soulless demons, and I'm loving every second of it. Love him or hate him, secret societies, governments, pampered Hollywood elitists, he's taking everything they're dishing out and shoving it right back down their throats. I'm proud to call him my fellow American. God bless Dr. Alpha. Anyway, folks, up next, is there a hole in the sun, and is that where the Illuminati are keeping Elvis? We'll find out in just a moment. This is Info Battalion.
Yeah, so there we go.
I don't think they're keeping Elvis in the moon, and you know.
I don't think so either. But I guess I didn't finish the episode that of Alex Jones on that one. So I never found out. But who knows? Who knows?
Yeah. I hope it'd be nice. I would like to. I'd like to think that Elvis is up there on the moon. I could listen to Blue Moon on Kentucky, keep on shining, and then just laugh to myself because Elvis is in that blue moon.
Exactly. And where else better to keep a star than not a star? I mean, the sun would be the first place you look, right? It has to be something they'll never look. Which is the moon, the dark side of the moon, which you can never ever see.
I think he's safer in the moon than he would be in the sun, if he's alive anyway.
Who's keeping him there, though? Is it the Illuminati, or is it space aliens, or is it those lizard men from the center of the Earth?
It's the Lunamati.
Illuminati. Perfect. But here we go. I want to show you I can actually show you with the moment Dr. Alpha actually traded hostages for the rights of Star Wars. See if you recognize anyone.
Yeah.
Let's see. So here's his hostages. Let me get it closer. See, here's his hostages. I don't know if you recognize anyone here, but these are three superheroines from this Justice Warrior Alliance.
Oh.
Very social. These Justice Warrior Alliance. These Justice Warriors very social. Usually, they go to parties and stuff. But here is the superhero, not 13th Doctor.
You ever have to put a bag over one of their heads?
All the time. In fact,
that's the. Well, I mean, not because you're a super criminal. I mean, I'm sure you do it all the time, but I mean,
Oh, we have. I mean, especially with not
butter
Captain
faces.
Marvel.
Yeah,
especially not Captain Marvel. You don't want to see that face.
Yeah,
not really something. Not even a mother would love that. And of course, Dr. Alpha. Did you know that Dr. Alpha has a tiger named Joe?
I didn't know that. I didn't know his name was Joe.
Yeah, he has a tiger named Joe, and it threatened to feed these superheroines to Joe unless, of course, they surrendered all rights to the Star Wars franchise immediately. So, villain or hero we need right now.
I mean, I trust him more than I trust Kathleen Kennedy for one very simple reason. I mean, he's a man.
Exactly. Easily more trustworthy than anyone of Kathleen Kennedy's particular
gender.
Description.
Oh, description. Yeah.
Let's see here. So that's that. But we got some more stuff, of course. We're just getting started. Let's see, but let's see. I got this.
Got
right
a lot
here.
of pornography to look at.
Obviously. But the regular stuff, not the degenerate stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Well, here we go. Let's have this one, and let me get this one to go forth. Let me see here. Okay, so have you heard about I know you're as we mentioned before, you were a Star Wars fan. So how much do you know about this whole High Republic stuff?
Enough to know that I'm not going to read it. I don't like anybody involved. I'm glad they're keeping Pablo Hidalgo busy with work, but they really should just put him out to pull a plow somewhere at this point. I'm not going to read this stuff.
Oh, I don't think anyone is. It's just in fact, it's gone on delays and it's suffering kind of the same fate as the New Warriors or the New Warriors. It's kind of on endless delays. But as I said before, I covered the High Republic before, and it seems like this is Kathleen Kennedy's kind of answer to the Mandalorian, that sort of thing. And where the Mandalorian The whole thing was that she tried to make it all feminized and everything. So she had to make a female Baby Yoda, for example, and trying to get a female director to head everything. And then I think was his name Favreau said, "No, we're not going to do that." Or
What a
Filoni,
hero! What a hero!
exactly, he is a hero. In fact, there's like this sort of power struggle, according to reports, that a power struggle between Kathleen Kennedy and the showrunner for Mandalorian. I get these guys confused sometimes, Favreau and Filoni, but they get kind of they're struggling for power, and he was winning actually because with the Mandalorian, he said, "Nope, not going to do what you, never going to do what you say. I'm going to make good Star Wars." So he said, "I'm going to get a male director to make a show that's the whole franchise that's marketed towards men, and make it for surprisingly, men."
Oh, I thought you
And
were going to say transgendered wheelchair midgets. No, men. Okay,
yeah,
well, that's a risk.
yeah, it's a risk. It's a risk because men are an untapped market,
Mhm.
in Star Wars. Peter Gilmore, morning, Literature Devil. Well, good morning, Peter Gilmore. Welcome to the chat. Hello, hello. And see here, but I think they're going back to the old hat, playing to the gigantic market that they used to play towards. And, the market that's been supporting Star Wars forever, which is the weird legless or whatever it is, the
No,
blue haired.
it's men. It's men that traditionally have supported Star Wars,
Yeah,
right? I mean,
no,
men.
yeah, traditionally yes, and all joking aside, yeah, it's Star Wars is predominantly for men. Like it was made by a man, and it was made by like a young man. So when you're a young creator, well, actually, when you're a creator in general, you tend to write what you know, and writing what you know is not just I drove a car once, so I can write someone driving a car. It's taking those experiences and translating them into something spectacular. So, for example, you have your writer like Lee Child or whatever. He would pretend to be whenever he got into a car, he would pretend to be flying a spaceship, things like that. And so when you're a sci-fi writer, usually 9 times out of 10, I would say that sci-fi writers haven't actually fought aliens or anything like that. So they would what they do is they take that experience of fighting someone or encountering someone from an alien culture, something like that, something of a different culture that you are not a part of, and they translate that into sci-fi, to like actual aliens, things like that. But when it comes to Star Wars in particular, the main so I mean, when it comes to George Lucas was a young creator at one point when he created Star Wars, and he instilled it with his what he thought would be interesting, what would interest him. And so, of course, George Lucas made Star Wars that would appeal to people of his sensibilities, mostly. So that's why you have Star Wars predominantly appealing towards men. Now, you do have women who like it, just like you have women who like superhero comics, but it's mostly a man's sort of franchise. Like superhero comics is kind of a man's medium. Uh, while women kind of dominate the prose novels and writing that sort of thing.
Right.
So it doesn't surprise me that Star Wars is failing, because when they're trying to ostracize the men, they're also ostracizing the women who liked it in the first place.
I want to
And
know one thing.
sure.
Is it bothering you that the guy all the way to the right looks like the underside of a butt? His face is a butt, a taint, and your wedding tackle, I guess. I mean, it kind of sort of resembles, you know,
Well,
know
this
what
with
I'm
normal
saying.
Star Wars, it would bother me, but this is High Republic Star Wars, so it's more like it's expected
So
that all the
this guy's just writing things from his own point. Like the artist is drawing things from his own point of view, I would say,
yeah, and
which
all
is
those
underneath a butt. You see what I'm saying? Okay.
yeah, a butt, like a butt face, and what's this? Why am I getting sort of the vibe here that when we read, if someone were to read the High Republic, they're going to have lightsabers and stuff like that, sure, but it's just going to be a bunch of Jedi taking selfies and ordering at restaurants, ordering at cantinas, because
Mm.
that's all they know. They know how to order food, and they know how to take selfies.
Yeah, I think that's right. Every single time, that's what they write about. These guys are completely uninteresting buffoons. I don't care, and the colors and the background are uh effeminate. Thank you.
Actually, we know we're bisexual lighting, so everyone knows what bisexual lighting is. Become a meme here. In fact, let's see here. I think I have a custom emoji actually. is called my themes. And anyone can in the chat, any members in the chat could put up my themes emoji. We made it bisexual lighting colored specifically to make fun of that.
It's disturbing. I mean, look at the colors there. What kind of mood of action and excitement does that instill in you, the reader? You look at those colors, you look at those people just standing there blandly with their lightsabers. One guy literally looks like his face is a rectum. I gotta say, it inspires nothing in me. I don't, there's no dark sky behind him with stars. Isn't this Star Wars? Where are the stars?
They are elsewhere. They moved. They moved on. They know what kind of a travesty this is going to be, so they kind of faded into history voluntarily. I think. I had a theory about the High Republic era, and the thing is, these weirdos they want to take over the franchise, and they thought taking over the franchise meant we'll just make sequel movies. But then the fans came out of the woodwork and said, "Hey, this is not how Star Wars is. Okay, it's not adhering to the Star Wars legacy. You're not respecting the characters." And so there's a legion of fans. In fact, I would say most Star Wars fans, like traditional Star Wars fans, not the one that just want to hop on because I don't know they would like Raylos or something. But traditional Star Wars fans, they hopped on board and said, "No, this is terrible. We're leaving." And so Lucasfilm saw that and said, we can't do this. I mean, the trouble is that there's too much continuity here. So I think the High Republic is a nice, fleshy, tender area that these people can invade with little resistance.
Mm-hmm.
There's not very much defense there, so to speak.
Yeah, they're really penetrating this market, if you know what I mean.
With their fangs.
Mm-hmm.
With their fangs and ingesting their poison and their venom and their toxin everywhere.
The guy's face literally looks like a butthole. That's what it looks like. You know what? I hate to be rude on your show. I mean, this is your show. I'm trying to be polite. But the guy's face looks like a butthole. And whoever designed him had to have known that. Had to have been going, am I drawing the view that I see when I sit on my mirror? Yes, you are. And you're, that's supposed to be a Jedi. That's not a Jedi. That's a brown eye. You got it completely wrong. And go back to, oh God, it's just, look at him. Look at him. He's an anus.
It's like are you saying that his face was like the eyes of Maz from that one movie of Star Wars? She owned her own cantina.
Yeah.
I call her butthole eyes.
Yeah, well, those guys had penis heads too. I knew that as a kid. And I will say this, well, look, there are a lot of characters in Star Wars that are shaped like penises, but those guys in particular.
And not so many as in Star Trek. There's a lot of aliens that have like butt heads in Star Trek. It's ridiculous because that's where the rubber forehead comes from. Because usually how Star Trek makes new aliens is get a new forehead patch and just put it on their face. Suddenly, new alien, easy,
very easy and inexpensive.
And see, Nexus 906, they went to 5. With that female-led project, quote-unquote, female-led project being announced, Kathleen better nut up or shut up, give something good, or else she won't really have a leg to stand on. Yeah, it seems that, I don't think Kathleen Kennedy will go anywhere. Unfortunately, I think she might win this little power struggle because, as I said before, EVS, I'm not sure if you heard me say this, but the thing is, they don't see success. They kind of redefine success when it comes to these movies, and if you're agenda-driven like Kathleen Kennedy. So when they do something like this, it's the success is not bringing in money. Apparently, obviously not. Success is not bringing in watchers or numbers. Success to them is making us angry, as a casual to hardcore Star Wars fans. Making us angry. That's what they're for. And if Kathleen Kennedy can succeed in making the dumb fanboys angry, okay, if Kathleen Kennedy can succeed in not making a course correction
to appeal to big dumb fanboys.
Whoa. If she does not appeal to the big dumb to us big dumb fanboys, okay, she makes us angry instead. That's a win for them, and
they really love it. Yeah, they love pissing us off and making us hate them. As long as they make the right people mad.
Yeah, who was it that said that? Wasn't it like Ron Mars or something?
That was Ron Mars. He said, "This is gonna make all the right people mad. This is gonna make all the right people mad. Good going."
I remember going on a rant about that too. Like that's the first thing they go to. I went to because something else had dropped recently. Oh yeah, they're making a sequel to the Demolition Man. They're making a sequel to Demolition Man. I saw the tweets in there, and everyone in Demolition Man. The announcement of Demolition Man sequel were like, oh, this is awesome. We're going to learn about the three seashells and all that stuff. It was pure love. Now, when Ron Mars, so people like Ron Mars, these NPC weirdos come out and find out this there's a new series on Disney Plus or whatever that we won't like. It's not the instinctual reaction is not this is going to be great. This has great actors in it. It's going to have a great storyline or whatever. It's haha. He's going to make the right people angry.
This is gonna piss off those incels. F you.
Yeah, those big dumb incels. Everyone's an incel. Everyone's an incel. I'm pretty sure Ron Mars is an incel. And see, Rockin' Sales for $1.99. She's invincible at this point, but Disney ain't. Yeah, the thing is, in their eyes, because Kathleen Kennedy is destroying Star Wars and making us big dumb fanboys angry, she's a success. That's why they're giving her awards and stuff. Because she's a success. It's kind of like how when someone like Max Visaggio comes out, okay? Someone like Max Visaggio comes out and makes no sales on a comic and still gets picked up for a sci-fi show. The reason why that can happen is because in their eyes, sales is not success. Okay, making people angry is success. So when they write a like for Iron Man or whatever, and they have an audience, maybe hypothetically speaking, 10,000. And then their writing makes 7,000 people go away. In their mind, 7,000 people did not stop reading it. They didn't. In their mind, they didn't lose 7,000 customers. Okay, in their mind, they lost 7,000 bigots.
I agree. It's crazy to think that way, but it is how they operate.
Yeah, I don't know why they would operate that way, or why they think that would be a good idea. But they do. That's exactly how they operate. Just okay. Well, we lost 10,000 people. Fantastic. It's amazing. Let's pop open some champagne because we didn't lose 10,000 customers. We lost 10,000 bigots.
Yeah.
Now we're making $1.50 on 10,000 copies because only one sold to a person who hates us.
Yeah.
They sold one copy to your boy Zach, and that's about it.
Yeah, I gotta say, I mean, look, bigots have money to spend. I know I do. And why not appeal to me? Why not do it?
Yeah, I mean, I want to appeal to SJW. I mean, I don't want to appeal to them, but I want them to buy my book.
SJWs don't buy books, though. I mean, that's the one thing. The SJW market, they don't have any money to spend on books, and they won't. They don't buy any products. But, I mean, we do. Of course we do. So why not just do everything that we say and get this weirdness out of here?
They do have money when their mommy and daddy's check comes in. I mean, they get it once a month, so every month they at least have money for a little bit. That's how they can spend 27 hours a day on Twitter. Ben Z, thank you much for the 5. Yeah, that's the point. They are so petty they don't actually like crap they make. No, they don't. They just like it because it makes us mad. I hate woke commies. I think everyone does. I think woke commies hate woke commies. Because they're very easy to point out. They're very easy to identify. Because as I said yesterday, the baseline for a fan is passion, and it's very, very clear that these fake fans, these SJWs who want to infiltrate these franchises, infiltrate these fandoms, to change a franchise like they did with Star Wars, they have no passion. I'm going to ask you this, EVS. Do you know what the common complaint is of nerd culture by these SJWs? What they often cry about, why they name that these they say that these fandoms are so toxic. At least one of the main reasons.
No, tell me.
Tell me this sounds familiar. They gatekept me. I went to a convention and these nerds kept asking me about the stuff. They kept questioning me because they don't like girls being involved in this franchise. Does it sound a little bit familiar?
Yeah, that sounds like my mom. And I've told her many times, stay home. You do not belong in Star Wars, Mom. That's ridiculous. You're 70 years old. She doesn't listen to me.
Well, some people might just.
I said gatekeeping, Mom. How about housekeeping?
Oh, there you go. Gotta have.
Get back to the housekeeping, Mom.
Get back to the kitchen, okay?
Yeah.
But the thing is that there's a reason why they don't like don't like it when people question them. Because I mean, if you are a Star Wars fan and you walk into a convention and someone asks you, "Hey, who's your favorite character in Star Wars?" or who you think what the best movie of Star Wars is, you probably wouldn't respond if you're an actual fan. You probably wouldn't respond with, "You're gatekeeping me. Stop asking me questions." You probably respond with, "Well, here's my opinion on this stuff."
Yeah.
But if you know nothing about it, if you're a fake fake fan, you probably be something along the lines of, "Don't question me. I'm a fan. You're gatekeeping me," because they don't know anything about that. They just want to pretend to be a Star Wars fan so they get all the clout and all the goodness it is to be a Star Wars fan without actually having to put in the effort and the work and the passion. They have to invest hours of their lives watching these movies or watching the TV shows or reading the comics.
Yeah.
So that's why I think that the baseline for a fan is passion. Because the SJW NPC weirdos who want to infiltrate these fandoms have none. It's very easy to point that out, or easy to check it out. Uh-oh. Vicky, hey, LD, I think your shadow ban stream's not showing up on my feed. Yeah, unfortunately that happens. I don't know why.
They say that to me every single day. Every time I live stream, you're shadow banned. Don't upset Lit Dev. He's trying to put on a show. You guys are sitting there trying to make him worry that YouTube is shadow banning and ghosting his effort, and it's not helping him put on a better show. Lit Dev, you need to yell at them a little bit more.
It's a little tough love every once in a while.
Oh yeah, but once or twice a day. Don't be afraid to whip out the belt. Some of these people.
Although I think YouTube does actually hate me. I think it does.
YouTube hates you? Why?
I'm pretty sure it does because I stream a lot now, and I talk about naughty things like how Star Wars is bad. Can't do that today. Can't do that. It's wrong thing. Can't do that, chat.
Yeah. Gotta love Star Wars.
Like as Doomcock says, stay angry, my friends. It's actually kind of the opposite. You gotta hate Star Wars now. Gotta hate it. Well, I'm just here to commentate about Star Wars, make people's days better, and maybe occasionally debunk some people's happiness, as I've been accused of doing because of my videos. You're debunking my happiness. Well, thank you for telling me. Makes me happy.
Whoa.
Let's see here. Ben Z, thank you much for 5. Hilarious part is the virtue signal because they don't have moral spine to actually have any virtue. Yeah, they don't actually have any principles or anything like that. It's why they turn it on each other at the drop of a hat. They're too poor to back up anything that isn't free. That's also true. They don't have any money. If you saw the dismal performance of the Birds of Prey movie, you'd know they have no money. Because I think the stats came out, and the audience for the Birds of Prey movie was 60% men.
60? That's it? I mean,
I think like 70% men. It was mostly men in the audience.
Yeah, I don't know why men were doing that. I mean, guys, you don't have to. Just because it's a superhero movie, it doesn't mean you have to go. And the other thing is, since when are men turning out for movies about angry, kick-ass butch lesbians? I just don't think it's. I don't think it's our interest group.
I don't think so either. I don't know. Actually, I really don't know who the movie was made for. It was made for that person's personal friends.
Yeah, it was made for everyone's parents, like they're the actors' parents. Look at my Susie. She looks like a butch lesbian.
I have another theory on what they do. Because have you noticed that all these SJWs, they like to curse a lot? They like to balance the fact that they're really soft and cuddly and have those little cartoon avatars everywhere, and they use that soft, round pastel colors and bisexual lighting to make them look less, threatening. The same way a person giving out free candy in the back of their van wants to make themselves look less threatening. They do the same thing here, and they try to balance that out with cursing a lot, and it's really awkward cursing. It's like a "hello, fellow kids" sort of cursing.
Right.
And my theory is that they're doing that sort of stuff to make their dads angry. Take that, dad.
I like that theory. I've noticed there's a lot of anger at daddy.
Yeah.
Around here. Yeah.
And you go even further. What are the franchises being taken over? Star Wars, Star Trek, Doctor Who, all these franchises that are really, really old, have decades of history. Marvel Comics, DC Comics, superheroes that have decades of history that guess who probably would have liked? Daddy.
Yeah.
And they're taking it over and they're ruining these things and they're cursing and they're making it horrible. And basically, I think it's just a big middle finger to daddy. That's what it seems like to me. I don't know. I don't know about you, but that's what it seems like to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see them talk and how they hate men, and every single one of them hates men. Every single one of them they just hate men. And
I
they
know.
prefer
I'm
boys.
like, bitches, what did I do to you?
Yeah, exactly.
You dumb bitches. Why do you hate men?
I have no
Get back
idea.
to why don't you get back to scrubbing that pot? And then you'll have less time to hate men. And I'll have a
Exactly.
grilled cheese sandwich with bacon in it. Please. Hold the please.
A George
Now.
Carlin joke. A George Carlin joke. Have you heard that one?
Yeah.
Where it's like, goes into someone go into a feminist area and goes, "Someone make me a sandwich."
Mm-hmm.
The Rocket Sailors for 4.99. Appreciate that. Fans care about what they love, and seeing more SJWs only care about themselves and seeing themselves in the work because they're perfect in every way. Because that's another part. They hate daddy. They want to get back at daddy. And two, they're notoriously lazy. They don't want to do any work. So they don't want to put in the work. We always say, what if you want a XYZ minority superhero, make that hero and then make stories that are clever enough and intriguing enough that they become popular in their own right. But the downfall of that is it takes work. Work is something that these SJW types and NPC types, they don't do work. They've been living off of mommy and daddy's money for like what 20, 30, 40 years. So they don't do work. It's something they do because they're not lowly peasants like us. So they don't do work. So when they want to become a comic creator, they weasel their way, at least from what I've seen, this kind of weasel their way into immediately getting a top position.
Well, I mean, yeah, this is the thing. They don't actually do work. They kind of manipulate the human resources department of any business that they work in. They complain about my feelings. My personal identity was slandered. And then before you know it, they're running the whole office and they're making you castrate yourself. It's like forcible castration. And I know you think it's a metaphor, but I'm being literal. Like they literally say, "Here's a razor, on the count of 3, cut it off." And a lot of people go for it, but this is what we're fighting.
Yeah, I think either you or your boy Zach pointed this out that Sean Gordon Murphy is probably the most dominating comic book writer in the industry right now, in the mainstream industry, and he has to answer to Mac Versace. He has to answer to all these weirdos who can barely sell a comic book for as toilet paper. These people, the people who can only sell comic books to people who hate them. I'm pretty sure that Max Versace, if she sells 1,000 comic books, it's 1,000 to 1,000 critics who want to take it to the YouTube channels or talk about it on the blog or something and tear it to pieces. That's what they make this for critics. And let's go get through the super chats real quick. And I'm going to do something that I'm going to point out something else that I'm going to criticize one of my heroes. Let's see here. Charlie's London official. Thanks very much for the £9.99. That's a good chunk because it's actually they're worth more than U.S. money. So that's a pretty good donation. Let's see here. Passions turns people into projects they never looked at before. I hear that all the time. Also, I love talking to fans of things I love. Back in the days of Message Wars, we did that all the time. I think that's what binds a lot of people together these days. How much passion they have, because all the fans still have passion. Let's see here. Ben Z, thank you for 2. 54% of the audience was male, which was why it failed. Yeah. Not too many people wanted to go see the birthday.
Just on opening day, yeah. I mean, the next day, people were like, "What the?"
It's kind of like they made it their moral duty to say, "Oh, this was terrible." Everyone's got to know how terrible this is. Kind of like how Naughty Dog is like kind of striking everyone down, so no one will know how woke their new game is, how woke the Last of Us Part 2 is. But thank you very much, Charlie's London official. Appreciate that. Awesome. So yeah. It's exactly what we're talking about here. It's passion that links fans together. It's passion that makes a fandom a fandom. It's like the glue that holds the members of that fandom together. So when you take away that fandom, it kind of all falls. When you take away that passion, it kind of all falls apart. And when a fan, a quote unquote fan, comes into the fandom without the passion, is there to infiltrate or whatever, it's very noticeable because they don't connect. It's kind of like having a puzzle piece that just kind of has like no holes or anything like that. It's just a square piece of cardboard or something. it's kind of noticeable. I don't mesh with anything. So I think that's what holds movements from anything from fandom to even Comicsgate together is a passion, a shared passion for something. And so spot on there, Charlie's London official. Thank you very much for that. Appreciate it. Demon Last Sword, thanks for $1.99. Which is worse now, Star Wars or Star Trek? I say Trek. I actually don't know. Yeah, because I just stayed away from Star Trek Discovery on that one. And see,
Yeah, I didn't watch Star Trek Discovery.
yeah, I've seen enough clips of it to know how toxic it is. It's awful. It's awful. It's like Chernobyl over there. You just get within 100 miles of that thing, your hair starts to fall off. And see, Ben Z, thank you for two. 54% of 11 people that was actually saw it. Yeah, 54% of 11 people who saw Birds of Prey. I see Rocket Helix for $9.99. Was the comic Dark Age the first major failure? I don't know. Not that brushed up on comic book history. Do you know anything about the comic book Dark Age?
What does he mean by the comic book Dark Age? Does he mean like right after the Image implosion, or I've never heard that term.
Actually, the only time I've heard comic book Dark Age is during that time where everything got really gritty, like during maybe the 90s or the 2000s or whatever, where everything had to be dark, everything had to be serious and violent or whatever it is. That's what I heard about Dark Age of comics, where everything's violent, everything's death and blood and all that stuff. I don't know. Was the comic Dark Age the first major failure? I don't know. I heard it did kind of flop, relatively speaking, but I don't know exactly. See, Shadowman, thank you much for the 5. SJWs use their parents to get jobs in companies where they start changing things to suit them. It still comes down to our money, our rules. Exactly. So they're kind of like I don't know, kind of like old school monarchs or Roman emperors or whatever. Is that they have a really, really strong leader, and then their child takes over, and they've been spoiled their entire lives. They've been handed everything. And they say, well, I don't care about this. All I care about is being able to do what I want, all the power I'm getting. Not really anything else. So they start changing things to suit their whims rather than what's best for the company or what's best for the direction of the characters or the franchise or whatever it is. So yeah, it seems to be more and more on like a spot on, because you see this all the time in films and TV shows and all that stuff. You get the guy who started the company and then he wants to pass it down to his son, which is very reasonable. But then the son kind of takes over. He's never had to earn it. The dad had to build it up from scratch, while the son kind of just moves and meditates into the position and doesn't actually never earned the respect.
You have to earn it. That's just talking about that. Like, people do not do well just being handed something. They get angry about it, disrespectful.
Exactly.
Or they disrespect it and you. People have to earn what they get. It's very important. It's good for them. That's
how we got the SJW movement to begin with, I think. People were there's a whole generation of people being handed things instead of having to earn them, like in the old days.
Yeah, agreed.
Let's see here. Rezikai, thanks for 2. Hey, LitD sent you an email on the EQ VKR stuff. Oh, interesting. Okay. I'll check that out. Sure, everything. Okay, we're all caught up. Awesome. Thank you very much for that, everyone. That was very generous. So, as you said before, as you mentioned before, there's the SJW types. This is the comic book pros. Was it? Am I off on this one? Or is I right on this one? The fact that the point I'm going to bring up, that a lot of these weirdos that they brought in from like Tumblr and Twitter and all that stuff, weren't they handed a lot of times? Weren't they handed like A-lister heroes like Captain America, that sort of thing?
Yeah, sometimes. Oftentimes they were. And I mean, look, it's the reason for it isn't just because hey, let's give this weirdo our best character. The reason for it is that people who are unqualified to work in comics, who've been pulled out of Tumblr and given a job writing a mainstream comic, you might as well just plan for their failure. Like, like a Batman book is going to sell no matter who does it.
Yeah.
So let's let these people do Batman or Wonder Woman or something like that. It is going to sell a certain amount.
And people think they're superstars too, having this drop this popular character in their hands. But the thing is, these people are what I think it was Bendis who said this in a book he wrote a long time ago, which might get him canceled now, I guess, because it makes him quote unquote bigger or whatever. But the thing is, these people are not actually famous. They're comic book famous. By comic book famous, he defines as, if they go to a comic book shop, they're a superstar. If they go to a convention, they're a superstar. If they're walking down the street getting coffee, they're nobody. They're just famous in a comic book shop or or a convention. I think people like Ron Mars, people like Sean Gordon Murphy, they're kind of learning this the hard way. It's not those people who are famous. It's Batman who's famous. It's Green Lantern who's famous. And I think it's kind of double edged sword because they want instant fame, which is kind of handed to you if you're handed a A-lister hero. But on the other hand, you're not the one who's famous. You're kind of reaping the rewards as long as you're on that character. But take away that character and you kind of become nobody again, which is how you get Max Versace selling no comics and then having a TV series that fails instantly.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing about that. So I just want to confirm with you that I'm not wrong here. I'm not mistaken or anything. That a lot of these people that they recruit from the social media, from people who have no experience whatsoever, they recruited them into as new writers and then gave them A-listers right off the bat. Right? Is that's correct? Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I remember a long time ago. This is kind of like the milkshake incident where they give these weirdos that have no experience top ranking jobs and positions, and then that's kind of what kind of started the whole movement to begin with, like this criticizing people, like saying, hey, could you just stop giving these prominent positions to people who have no experience? Like give people, if you're going to give someone Green Lantern or Captain America, whatever, give them to people who actually had writing credits under the belt.
Well, it's not just that. It's also that the people who were receiving these positions were power mad. So you can let somebody edit Teen Titans if they're kind of a newbie, or at least be the assistant editor. But these people were just like, give me the power so that I can act like a dickhead on Twitter, which is what they did. I mean, they just immediately started insulting everyone once they felt like, hey, everybody's got to come to me to know what the story is with this character that they love. They're power trippers. And so Heather Antos, those people, they were sitting there telling people to shut the F up. They were saying ridiculous things like Rose Tico's a much better character than Boba Fett. I mean, what are you going to do?
Yeah, and the thing is, they were just they that's why they like the term empowerment, because they don't want to work for the power, because people tend to empower themselves. Like George Lucas, he wasn't really empowered. He made Star Wars. No one handed him Star Wars. Well, I guess technically they did, because people came in and like made his ideas better. George Lucas is more like a general idea guy rather than a details man. Well, I mean, and when it comes to narrative structure, but George Lucas and his team forged Star Wars from scratch. No one handed it to him. That's called developing power. Now, what they want is empowerment. And from what I've seen, what that means is that in their definition, empowerment means you give me power. You as a good person give me power because I'm of X, Y, or Z minority status or whatever. That's why they want empowerment, because it's easy. Someone can give it to them. They don't have to work for it, and they can reap the rewards immediately. I remember a long time ago, there was back then when your boy Zach was still on Twitter, there was a big fight about this whole milkshake incident, and even Neil Gaiman, which is he's still one of my personal heroes for several reasons, but I can understand why people don't like him. Like I don't require people to like Neil Gaiman. I personally do. But the thing is, Neil Gaiman came out against Comicsgate in that portion, and he said, "Well, I was hired on as to DC when I had no experience. It's like because a lot of people were calling out the hiring of inexperienced writers to write on these top tier heroes, and Neil Gaiman came out and said this is okay because DC did that to me. If you know the history of Neil Gaiman, that's not entirely true."
Yeah. He had another book out there. He did an indie book first.
Yeah, exactly. When DC brought him on, they didn't hand him Batman. They didn't hand him even Sandman. When Neil Gaiman came on to DC, he made his own hero sort of thing called Black Orchid, and it was his editor Karen Berger was like, "Hold on, this is a female character. Female characters don't sell. Okay, we're gonna put you on something else." So what they did was they moved Neil Gaiman up to a legacy character, but they didn't give him Batman. They didn't give him Superman. They didn't give him Wonder Woman. They gave him Sandman, like a character that kind of put out the pasture already almost. And Neil Gaiman being a creative, unlike these SJWs who just want to be handed power, Neil Gaiman made it his own thing and made Sandman, is that whole endless universe. So I like Neil Gaiman. He's one of my personal heroes, but I had to call him out on that lie he told, that he started off just like they did. No, untrue.
I like that his name is Neil Gaiman.
Neil Gaiman. I hear him joke about that all the time in his interviews. I think he jokes about that in his tweets sometimes. Like, yeah, Neil Gaiman.
Yeah, it's just interesting. It explains a lot.
Yeah, it does. It does. Let's see here. Deplorabology. Thank you much for 5. Appreciate that. If you guys were to choose a female heroine to write, who would it be? EVS LD. I would choose the She-Hulk.
Oh, wow! How about that?
Who do you choose?
Let's see. I would choose. Boy, I guess I would choose like Wonder Woman or something like that. I really don't know or care. That's it's not really where I'm going. What about you?
That's a good question. I asked you first so I could have time to think. Let's see. If I were to choose any heroine from either Marvel or DC or whatever, I would probably have to choose. Let me see. Maybe. I mean, it has to be an A-lister or something, or B-lister. I don't know. But if I had to choose anyone, I would choose Wonder Woman and write her my way. Bring back all the old school stuff. The history of Wonder Woman where she gets bound by a man. She's trapped. It's like her one weakness. Stuff like that. Bring back that the old school Wonder Woman ideas, because that gives her more. She's more grounded that way. Also, it really make the it'll make the right people angry. Let's see. Rocket St. Louis for 999 EVS. Why did DC follow Marvel off this cliffside? No, that's a good question.
It's just look. They got rid of Dan DiDio, and the minute they got rid of Dan DiDio and replaced him with, they also got rid of Diane Wheeler Nelson and replaced her with an SJW. It's not about, is this idea going to make us money? It's all politics. Everything is politics all the time. So that's why it doesn't matter that they went off the cliff. They did what they meant to do, which was disgrace DC Comics.
Yeah, I think Cecil mentioned something like that before. Like he mentioned that once when they came out with 5G announcement. He's saying that, oh look, Marvel is failing. Let's do that. He mentioned something like that. It's like, that's pretty much what happened. I mean, how can you look at his sinking ship and then think in any way, in any capacity, think that a sinking ship is a good idea? Like DC apparently, essentially looked at Marvel burning down their own ship and calling the people saying, "Don't burn down your own ship, Nazis and bigots," and said, "Hey, burning down your own ship in the middle of the ocean, that looks like a good idea. It's like a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do that. Fire is cool, right? Let's do that." Charlie's London official. Thank you much for the £4.99. George Lucas used historical footage and events as inspirations and influences for Star Wars, whereas SJWs now want to rewrite history. That's ironic. Yeah, they're kind of becoming the Ministry of Truth from 1984. Have you seen the redos of the original trilogy that they're doing now right now?
Yeah, they're making Luke look like a little woman. It's weird.
Yeah, it's really disturbing.
I don't know why they're like that. I mean, they're just awful people.
They gave him this pair of luscious lips that I don't know why they did that.
An eyeliner.
An eyeliner. What is this? It's like they made him like Karen Skywalker.
Because they're doing exactly what I say that they do, which is feminists invade a boy's hobby. They let boys know exactly their solution for what it means to be a man. They pussify all the characters, all the masculine characters in that franchise. And there you go.
Yeah, and they also they didn't stop there. They actually redid clips in animated form from the original trilogy, and one of them was during the Hoth invasion. There was a general who was giving orders and saying, "Okay, this is what we do. We got to shoot him with the ion cannon, that sort of thing." They redid that, replaced that man general, that male general,
with Leia,
and now she's doing all that stuff. And then during the rescue on the Death Star, suddenly Luke is this incompetent guy who's like Elmer Fudd, looking down the barrel of his gun, not knowing how to fire a rifle. And I'm saying that's ridiculous. Luke is a space Republican. He knows how to fire a gun. Okay, he's a farmer.
So, yeah.
Luke lives every day in a hostile environment, thinking that he's going to get murdered at the drop of a hat. by anything from, I don't know, a rock or dehydration to sand people. But they have him over there in the cartoon, looking down, like almost looking down the barrel of his gun, thinking, how does this contraption work? What is this? Like, there's no way. Like, Luke is a space Republican. Okay, he knows how the gun works, and so they have Leia, this kind of like, get out of the way, stupid man, and she gets the gun and she fires at the stormtroopers and she throws Luke down there. She throws she throws Chewbacca down
Yeah,
there.
I've seen it. It's despicable. It absolutely is. You know, giving Wonder Woman a bigger role while decreasing Luke Skywalker's role just proves exactly what I said. I mean, they get women in there, they get feminists in there to come in and make changes. And the first thing they change is, this is how we want you to see women, bigots. And then the second thing they change is, this is how we want you to see yourselves, bigots. They take out all your heroes that you love and they replace them with sad, you know.
And it helps nobody. It really helps nobody. And the thing is, if you compare that to how Wonder Woman and Superman and Batman traditionally developed, they're all great heroes. They're all beloved heroes. And the thing is, Wonder Woman became a hero in her own right. She became a famous hero in her own right. And the thing is, she didn't have to step on Superman and Batman to do it. She just did it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? You might not like Wonder Woman or whatever. I personally kind of neutral to her. I was never a fan, but she is one of the big three of DC, or considered one of the big three.
Yeah.
And in fact, I think if I thought about a superheroine, if you count her as a superhero, that I would write for. I would really, if I had my pick of the litter, I would write for Neil Gaiman's version of Death. I really like that character. Very fun. Very fun. Let's see here.
Lit Dev, I gotta run. I'm sorry.
No problem,
The thing that I told you about that's coming just came to my door. I got a dumpster. Got a big dumpster to empty my garage in order to fill the garage with unforgettable tales, crates, and I got to move my car and all that. Thank you so much for having me on the channel. Hail chat, hail Literature Devil. I'll see you again soon.
Hail Caesar. Thank you for joining us. All right, chat. Just you and I now. Just you and I. Just you and I. So don't worry, chat. We still have plenty of stuff to go over. Plenty of stuff. But now, we appreciate Ethan Sciver joining me today. But now, I can pay attention more to you. Let's see here. Let's check it out. Okay, let's see here. Rocket Taylor for $9.99. SJWs think humans are like spotted hyenas. I mean, even with are you referring to the female-dominated species of spotted hyenas, where the women rape men? Is that what you're referring to? So you get Hail Adam Post. Well, Hail Adam Post. I think Adam Post is still in there. Oh, let's see here. Glib, welcome, Glib. Congrats on your pod, Ethan. Fortunately, he left already, but hopefully, I think you saw that. Hopefully, you saw that. Let's see here. Well, welcome, Glib. Welcome. And let's see. Tyler Preston. Imagine if the roles were reversed. Yeah, if anything the SJWs and NBC weirdos do, if the roles were reversed in any of those scenarios, it would be a huge controversy. A huge controversy. They would not let it go. And see, Alex Halo. Hail Adam. Well, hello, Alex Halo. Welcome to the chat. Welcome to the chat. Alex Halo, always welcome. Chekhov's Antlers. Hail Caesar. Hello, Chekhov's Antlers. Hello, and Criminal's Imagination. See you, Caesar. Yeah, it was nice when we had him. Fantastic. Oh, let's see here. Let's check it out. Okay, so we got some more stuff in here. Oh, Super Kakarot. I missed that name. Super Kakarot. Welcome, Super Kakarot. Welcome. Okay, chat. But yeah, Star Wars delays the High Republic. In my opinion, I don't think we can stop winning, chat. I don't think we can stop winning. Right? This is Kathleen Kennedy's play. This is the High Republic stuff. Was, I believe, part of the. I mean, it was announced earlier, but I believe that the female-centric series was going to have something to do with the High Republic. You know, the one that she kind of forced down Bob Iger's throat. It was going to be. I think it was going to take place in the High Republic. So if the High Republic's gonna be pushed back, then I think that might mean that this whole project to take over everything might have been pushed back as well. Who knows? Let's see here. Nathan Brake, thank you much for the 2. Appreciate that. So when the Promar, so is the Promare review? So when's the Promare review? Oh, I don't know. I remember that. I remember someone brought that up. I don't actually know. I have to get it with Smudboy on that one. War Raven V or War Raven 5. Hail Lit Dev. Well, hail War Raven 5. Welcome, welcome. DJ and Voices. Would they hate it if the roles were reversed though? Then they tried to make women look like men already. I don't know. They always want to play victim. I know that. So any chance to play victim, they will actually like. Okay. Actually like, but secretly have to hate. Like they will have to hate that in public, but they secretly like. Because finally we get to actually be victims instead of having to pretend to be victims. That sort of thing. So it's a strange, selfish little game they play, chat. Always the same selfish little game. And let's see here. There we go. Good Glib, not tired of winning. Neither am I. I'm always ready for more winning. Always ready for more winning. Always ready. It's always fun when we win, chat, because we're winning a lot. People tend to be waking up more and more these days. Let's see here. Oh yeah, right, Glib. That's right. Where's that Ryan Johnson trilogy? Kathleen Kennedy. Where's that Ryan Johnson trilogy? I'm waiting for that one. The Last Jedi sparked so many careers on YouTube, almost including my own. So, 3 more Star Wars movies by Ryan Johnson. Who cares at this point? Star Wars is effectively dead, and it's only alive if you kind of discount the new movies. So why not? Why not add more travesty to the conga line of travesties? Just give us more Ryan Johnson Star Wars that we can sink our teeth into, because they're delicious, absolutely delicious. Let's see here. Christopher Cole, I'm hoping that all female Star Wars project will be struck in development and hell until Kathleen Kennedy's contract is up, then dropped. Yeah, because Kathleen Kennedy, even if it's no matter what it is, if Kathleen Kennedy is running it, it's probably not going to be all that great. To tell you the truth, it's probably not going to be all that great, because she has spent years very effectively running Star Wars into the ground, very effectively. So hopefully, yeah, you're spot on there. Hopefully. Okay, so 1 second, chat. 1 second. And get this all up and running. All right. Let's see here. Nif Champion. If Luke and Leia had been twin girls, they would have not been making Luke look like an idiot. It's disgusting. I think this is what they wanted. I think they actually want to rewrite history where Padme had twin girls, so that Luke Skywalker would be a girl. They're making him into one. Might as well. Very interesting stuff. Very interesting stuff. Oh, so let's see here. 1 second, chat. 1 second. Let me get this up and running. Let me get this going. Got more stuff to go over. There we go. That should do it. Okay, so we have more stuff to go over, chat. Don't worry. It's more than that. I want to bring up the High Republic and how it was a soft spot, a soft spot for Lucasfilm, for modern day Lucasfilm to help corrupt Star Wars. It's a nice, fleshy, tender area. I see. Hello, Glib. Welcome, Glib.
Hello. Good morning. Excellent to be here. That was cool. That was really awesome to see Ethan come on. That was a joyful surprise.
Yeah, so you need a break from the whole everything and just sit back and relax and laugh.
Absolutely.
But now we have check this out. Bleeding Fool actually came out with an article, kind of lambasting Star Wars a little bit on serial plagiarism.
All right, let's see this thing.
Disney continues a pattern of serial plagiarism with Star Wars.
Yes.
Editors note, this is not the first time we've covered alleged plagiarism by Disney on this blog. Yeah, because they do it all the time. So let's see here. the first go through this bullet list of plagiarism accusations against Lucasfilm in the Disney era. Okay, so accusations arose that specific elements of the Last Jedi screenplay were plagiarized from fan fiction. From fan fiction. Now that is interesting.
Well, it's on the level of fan fiction, so
Yeah, it was. It completely was. It completely was. And I see here that once over to Tanya. Now it's a Liddy Glib show. I'm subscribed for. Awesome, awesome.
Glibberture devil fiximly.
Yeah, thank you for having me back on your show, Glib. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
Let's see here. Actually, let's go. Let's check this out. I did not know this. Actually, let's check this out. Signs of plagiarism in the Last Jedi. So let's see here. It was bad enough. It's been years since this movie came out. And we're just keep on continuing to see new horrible nonsense coming from this movie.
And there's new things to notice. I think Shiny noticed something yesterday. I wish I remembered what it was. It was like a brand new issue with the sequels in that conversation we had on Smudcast. I really wish I could remember what it was. But like, you know how good movies, you can go back, you watch them maybe 4 or 5 times, you still are finding new things to like about it. And then bad movies, I feel like it goes in the opposite direction. And then the kind of hybrid is that sometimes you watch a movie the first time, you didn't like it very much, but then you actually watch it a little bit clearer and you notice all the good things about it, or vice versa. This one is clearly just, it gets worse and worse over time, and it just keeps getting worse because they keep adding content to that bad content. And it's
always
like,
new stuff. It's always something new to find out about The Last Jedi and how it makes it worse and worse and worse.
it's like, you know, you wonder how things could get worse, and then they go, oh, we found a way. We found a way. That's their triumph. They found a way to piss fans off and make other new fans excited.
Let's see here. So, actually, you know what, Glib? I want to ask you this: a question we got asked earlier. So, Dr. Crow, welcome, Dr. Crow. Welcome, Dr. Crow. By the way, Dr. Crow says he would write Squirrel Girl if he had a chance to write any superheroine. So, if you had a chance of writing any superheroine from comics like DC or Marvel, who would you?
Ooh, a heroine, specifically a woman.
Yeah, specifically a woman.
My brain is saying Black Widow right now. I don't know why.
Well,
I don't know why that popped into my head, but I feel like the idea of a realistic Black Widow going through her struggles would probably be something I would relate to as a writer. Like, I would love to get into that mentality and show off what that's like. I think you said Wonder Woman, right?
I said Wonder Woman, then I said Death from Neil Gaiman's version of Death.
Oh, Death is great. Yeah. A Death versus Deadpool. But it's like writing a story for a woman would be like a really great, like a deeper process for me than because I write males all the time. So yeah, I think Black Widow would be one of them. And then I guess that's kind of I think underpowered characters are really what I like. That's my steez. So whatever any character that wasn't too overpowered, like I probably wouldn't be interested in a She-Hulk.
I mean, Power Girl or anything like that? Power
Girl? No, I don't think so. But Captain Marvel, if I got the opportunity to fix Miss Marvel, I probably would do that too.
Interesting. That's good. I like Black Widow. She's my favorite. She was my favorite Avenger from the movies.
Yeah, I think that her comic books aren't as good as the way that they produced her in the movie. Honestly, a lot of the time.
Really good. I really like her portrayal there.
That's one of Scarlett's my favorite performances from her. Even though I know she has such massive range in a lot of ways, it's kind of hit or miss. But she's so there's so much conviction, even though it's not necessarily written that perfectly, or the acting isn't as the best that it could be. There's a conviction there, and that's what I really enjoy about it.
It's same here. I like those underpowered characters. I sort of like the Punisher. And
yeah, I was gonna say before you said heroine, when it was just comic book characters, I was like Punisher. I want to write Punisher.
Easily, it'd be easy. Punisher, easy.
Yeah, I want him to shoot through buildings and stuff with rocket launchers. I love it.
Is here Jake the Duelist? Does it have to necessarily be a hero? It'd probably go with Nebula because of that Thanos Warlock stuff. Is my jam? Oh yeah, Nebula. That's right.
Nebula's great, and that's another great performance too.
Yeah, she's the one. She's the blue girl, right? I think.
Yeah, Karen Gillan.
Karen Gillan, the Doctor Who actress. Nexus 906, Richard with 5. Appreciate that. LD, apparently the girl Luke thing was an accident. It just the Italian drawing style. Clownfish TV did a video on it, and I had to pick Huntress. Oh, interesting. Yeah, Huntress. That's an interesting character. Isn't her just part of the Bat family? I don't. Okay, I know she's part of the Birds of Prey, but I also heard she's part of the Bat family. Sometimes
I didn't know she was part of. She's Batgirl some of the time. That's why. I don't know. That's kind of boring character to me, but I get it. You can make it interesting. That's probably why it's a good idea to do it.
So she's Batgirl sometimes. That is
Yeah.
interesting.
She looks kind of Batgirlish.
Let's see here. Welcome, voice on the radio. Welcome, welcome.
Hello. I have no
see.
image.
Oh,
Okay,
awesome.
fellas.
Hello,
These are-
Mr. Voice.
I think they're going to take time to load in or something. Let's see here. Oh, there we go. There we go. Even that story, I love it when Literature Devil mentions Batman. Themes. That's an emoji. Awesome. I love it. And that's the emoji, by the way, that is specifically colored to be the
bisexual lighting.
The bisexual lighting color.
My theme is bisexual lightning.
My favorite theme is bisexuality.
Yeah, exactly. What's the bisexual comic book character that we could write about?
Whatever it is,
Sam,
it's
it's
going
gotta
to
be one of
it's
them
gonna be
out there.
fuchsia. It's going to be colored fuchsia hair.
Fuchsia Man, the
Fuchsia Man.
bisexual Superman.
Fuchsia Man, the bisexual superhero. It's ma'am. Fuchsia ma'am. Let's see. So, voice you made just in time, but we found an article that apparently details how The Last Jedi plagiarized from literal fan fiction. So when we say that these,
Well, I'm ready to hear that.
I hope you are, because when we say that these, we started saying that these Star Wars movies, these Star Wars movies were like fan fiction compared to the originals. We were joking, but apparently, I was joking. Apparently, it's true. It's all true. It's all true.
It's true, all of it.
So let's see here. The Chasing Ryan. I think it's a series called Chasing Ryan or something. The more signs of plagiarism found in Last Jedi, updated. So let's see here. Once again, the film that professional critics adored for subverting expectations is being accused of plagiarism. Previously accused of accusations arose from that specific elements from The Last Jedi screenplay were plagiarized from fan fiction. This video. Oh, it's a video. We don't have to read anything. That's
Excellent.
Beautiful. To be fair, how's that for subversion? Everyone said that it was an original idea, unlike The Force Awakens, so we should be happy. And it turns out it wasn't even that.
Yeah, it was an original idea when they stole it.
Yeah, exactly. It was the most original stolen idea we ever plagiarized.
Right?
Most
The
original.
idea
Most
was
original.
to steal other people's work.
Most original, believe me. Most original. The best of the originals.
Amazing.
Let's check this out.
Reading Star Warriors, and boy, do I
Star
have something
Warriors.
special for you. I mean, if you're looking on the screen right now, I want you to
Turn up
get a load
reverb
of
by
this
like
box.
30%.
Yeah,
Isn't it
exactly.
The most wonderful, amazing, freaking stupendous box you've ever seen. Don't you just feel like playing in the box? You know, just running through the box, jumping in it, jumping out, and running around it and stuff like that. You remember all those mansions you used to run through 20 and 30 and 40 years ago? Isn't this box just way better, and it just looks like way more fun than the freaking mansion you used to run and play through and, you know, brick stuff in?
Oh man, this guy's high.
This box is just unbelievable.
What is this? What is this video?
He's high. Oh Lord, he's high.
Is that heading to us how Ryan Johnson made this whole movie just by getting high and surfing fanfiction.net for ideas and then just cobbled together something?
This is like the introduction to a cult or something like that. This is what you play when you walk in the doors. You're going to leave behind all of the things besides Star Wars.
Your whole life. All your
you've been-
possessions and just give everything to Star Wars.
You need to do this for a video, Lit Dev. You need to find this music, put your reverb on, and just be like, "You will subscribe."
You will subscribe.
You love this box. Inside this box is a devil. He is the devil of literature.
You don't know what's inside this box. It's a mystery. A mystery box, you could say.
Do you want to open the box? Do you really want to open the box?
You don't. The answer is you don't.
The answer is you don't.
What's in the box? What's in the box?
What's in the fucking box?
I need to know.
I don't know what this has to do with anything. Ryan Johnson, a plagiarist, the Last Jedi copies a fan fiction. I don't want to watch this video.
Let's just,
We don't have to watch the video.
It's 9 minutes long.
No, it's 9 minutes long. Let's just listen to them going, whoa, whoa, with no visuals.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and it's just this box. Like, there's no visuals. It's just this box.
Oh, okay.
It's better than The Last Jedi.
Is that the joke, though? Is that the joke? It's just a box.
It is brought up several times throughout the story. It's strange because while human slavery is something that's touched upon often.
Okay, we're moving on.
So,
Oh, dear.
Let's see here.
This one on the bottom, the Last Jedi ending ripped off this 1996 movie. That's such a clickbait title. They could just say "Escape from L.A." because he uses the thing where Snake is like, "Shoot me, you can't kill me," and then they all start shooting him, and he's a hologram.
Yeah.
That's what Luke did. That's the short version of that. It's really stupid.
So the later new accusations arose that editing techniques in The Last Jedi were plagiarized from Escape in L.A. Yeah, interesting. Let's watch a little bit of it.
Hey, John, I gotta ask you something. I got it.
What's all of these low quality videos?
I don't actually know.
Come on, bleeding fool.
I don't know where they found these.
Make some better videos.
Haha, gets him every time. Oh, gosh.
What is this?
Oh, it's
What's
John
up,
Talks.
guys?
Okay,
John here. All right, I want to ask the question: did Ryan Johnson plagiarize the last? Oh,
That's a good question. Did he plagiarize The Last Jedi?
wait, that was the last video.
Yeah.
The whole thing? I don't know about the whole thing, but yeah, there's definitely a lot of plagiarism. There's a lot of Empire and a lot of shit.
He said that he plagiarized The Last Jedi. Wouldn't he have plagiarized the movie to create a different movie to create The Last Jedi?
He plagiarized his own movie.
I plagiarized my thing that I was making. God damn it.
Let's see here.
Video that I did. If you haven't seen that one, check it out. But actually, we are going to be talking about a different form of potential or possible plagiarism when it comes to The Last Jedi. I want to thank Sean Ledden and Grey Jedi for sending me this video. Now, I've never seen this video. It is from a channel called Lost Theater, and so if you're into movies, if you're kind of a movie buff, they do have like some Star Wars stuff in there as well. Let's take a look at this video that implies that The Last Jedi was actually ripped off a little-known movie from 1996 called Escape from L.A., written and directed by John Carpenter, who is actually probably most famous for the film Halloween, but he also did do the film Escape from New York. Both of these movies, Escape from New York and Escape from L.A., have Kurt Russell in them. Kurt Russell plays the iconic Snake Plissken, who wears an eye patch.
Let's move on. Let's go. Skip it.
Man, he just
The endings side by side to just show.
Just play the video.
Side by side. Okay.
God.
The numbers. Ryan Johnson plagiarized Spaceballs.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what he did. He's made a horrible version of Spaceballs.
How similar they are. And I must say it is pretty uncanny and somewhat suspicious. Am I saying that Ryan Johnson plagiarized this? Could it just be
in the chat? Like, you can just go straight to the Escape from LA video. I linked it in the StreamYard thing. We don't have to watch John explain everything.
Okay.
If I did that, I'd sub to him. No.
Let me see if we can get this up here. Close this. And we'll get this up here.
We try to give chat the pure, unadulterated.
Oh, good. So it's only like 2 minutes long.
Yes, exactly. We can
It's
just
really short.
It's skip around it. We don't have to sit here being explained who John Carpenter is. I know who John Carpenter is. I've read a book before. Okay, jeez, sir.
It seems like he's like trying to explain what the video is going to be about before we watch the video or something.
Yeah, I mean, he's making his content, but his content is not what we want. We want the video.
Yeah. So if chat, if you ever wanted to make your own YouTube channel, do not make a video do not make your YouTube videos begin where you start talking about what's going to be in the YouTube video and then you start playing the YouTube video. Don't do that.
Yeah, exactly.
Like for example, like if you're gonna make a video about the Last Jedi or something, don't say this video is gonna be the Last Jedi. I'm gonna be looking into this, and that, and these themes like that.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Just begin talking about it.
That'd be
Okay.
like
Last Jedi
buying-
is a film made by Ryan Johnson. Like, no, I know that. I'm coming for whatever's in the title.
Yeah.
They'd be like buying a book for like how to cook 101 recipes, and then the book starts off with, "Hello, you have bought this book for how to cook 101 recipes. These 101 recipes will be chicken fillet, lobster thermidor," and then just list all of them. It's like, no, I know that. Let me read it and figure out which ones I want to cook.
Yeah, it's a table of contents. That's all we need. Introduction.
Welcome shiny.
Boom.
Welcome shiny. I think
I
I
smelled some Star Wars.
I
smells
guess
that-
I knew you did.
We're gonna need some. We're gonna need somebody to design a shirt that has Shiny's face on it, and then underneath it says, "I smell some Star Wars." Yeah.
Let's see here. DJM Voices, thank you for 10. Even without fanfics, TLJ isn't original. My balance was done better in KOTOR 2, and Luke Astro projecting was in the legacy books, except more cleverly.
Ugh.
Yeah.
I don't even like that projection shit, but I bet it was.
Yeah, you could
I bet you was. There's no way it could be worse than anywhere else.
you could expect those fucking those books to actually, do something that makes sense, at least half the time.
That's why everyone kind of loved them, mostly, from what I've heard.
Mostly.
There's a lot of it. There's a lot of it. So you can't. Not all of them can be perfect, but for the most part, generally speaking, what I've heard, they're pretty good.
Also, so someone was saying something about The Last Jedi not being original. Who said it was original?
Everyone who defends it.
It's it's again, as I keep saying over and over again, it's not original. It's the backwards version of Empire Strikes Back. Like instead of starting off at Hoth, they finish off at Hoth thing, and instead of going to Cloud City, they go to Canto Bight, which is pretty much their replacement for Cloud City.
The start of Hoth combined with the resolution of Return of the Jedi and a strange B plot before returning back to the start of Episode 5 again. Otherwise known as Frankenstein's Monster.
Frankenstein Star Wars film.
Frankenstein Star Wars. This is stitched together from already dead parts. Let me see here. So let's go ahead and check this out. Let's see what they have to say about this. So, Last Jedi ending ripped off from Escape from L.A. So, I haven't seen the movie in a while. Curious to see what they have to say about it. Scene comparison.
Drum roll.
Kill him.
I want every gun we have to fire on that net. Do it.
Oh my god.
Fire!
He's not even here. He's a hologram.
Catches on quick, doesn't she?
Gotta be within a half mile radius.
See you around.
Count up every available man.
Well, that is interesting. Yeah, I mean, it's not like
Good
shot for
job.
shot, but it has the same sort of like the pathway they kind of go.
Yes,
Same
it's
little
the same
element.
sequence.
The overzealous killing of the guy, only to discover that he's not actually there, and he's all smug about it, and then disappears while the villains are in complete confusion. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. Very, this is very interesting. They kind of have these same elements. It's not exactly the same, but they have this very similar elements together.
Mm.
Interesting. But let's see here. So back to the original article. Let me see. Chasing Ryan. So he apparently he stole it from fan fiction. Let's see. Then it was discovered that the crystal foxes may have been lifted from Polish artist Marta Klonwaska. The crystal foxes.
Yeah, that I have heard that one before. Yeah.
See, here they are. There's a little tweet in there. Hey, I know that one. Another guy. I don't know him, but I've seen his tweet, his account before. Jar Jar, not Abrams. See, so although it was originally skeptical, I was originally skeptical of many of these claims. Zero Gate made me reconsider, since Ryan Johnson publicly admitted to having a paid staff member of the production scanned the internet for fan rumors, though he later deleted the tweet below. If they were scanning the internet for fan rumors, what else were they scanning the internet for? See, production, we had a guy keeping an eye on online rumors. Yeah, that's not a good sign, Ryan Johnson. Not a good sign. I say, now it seems another editing copycat has possibly found in which the throne room scene Last Jedi mimics the Wizard of Oz.
What?
The Wizard of Oz? Let me see. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, finish that one. So yeah, they copied a couple of scenes. Interesting stuff. So not Ryan Johnson.
The question would be is how much of this do we chalk up to them ripping off or taking inspiration?
Let's see. So here's the original article I'm looking at.
There's a difference between taking inspiration and, straight up ripping, like, scenes. So you can take inspiration from something, but usually when you're taking inspiration, it is transforming it in some way.
Mm.
Like, so you can take inspiration from Star Wars and you can create a film around the same central ideas and premises, and you're transforming the ideas into your own thing, and that is just called taking inspiration. Mass Effect, for example, did take heavy inspiration from Star Wars and Star Trek, but it transformed it into a new IP, something that was different. And you could say the same of Orville, though to a lesser extent transforming it, because it was supposed to be a replacement for Star Trek in a sense.
I mean, we know that a lot of these things are taken from other things. It's not necessarily bad. Most ideas are not original. Every idea comes from someplace. And I watch films nowadays with this giant library of films that I've seen in the 20 something years I've been here, and I'm just like, oh yeah, the television show that I'm working on a review for, Mr. Robot, is basically Fight Club, The Matrix, Hackers, A Clockwork Orange, a little bit of The Shining and all the Kubrick stuff, and I know that there's more that I even wrote down, but I can't just think off the top of my head. But there are specific things taken from those stories. And what he did was, the writer Sam, he went, I like what I see in Fight Club. I like that we have a character that is going through all the same things, but the outcome of those things is going to be different, and the relationship between the characters is going to be different. And if you have elements from Star Wars that end up being in Mr. Robot, there are reveals that are from Empire Strikes Back in Mr. Robot. Same like mechanistic concepts, like, oh, you're this person and I'm this person. That's fine. What the problem is when your story is not doing any remixing. It's not doing anything new. It's not iterating in a way that's interesting. It's doing the same thing for the sake of spectacle. It's doing this idea I'm going to steal from Escape from LA. And how is it different? And it's not different. Mm-hmm. It's almost the exact same sequence of events. It's a one-to-one copy paste. As opposed to if he said, okay, I'm going to do a forced projection of Luke, and it's going to be like Escape from LA, but At a certain point, then all of this happens. You get what I'm saying? And then
transforming it.
Exactly. Transform it. Exactly. That's exactly what it would be. So you can transform into fair use. You can transform into another idea. The issue is that that's one type. The number two type that I can think of off the top of my head is you have something that you really liked that you want to use the foundational structure for, but you want to fill it with different information. So you know, Mass Effect from Star Wars and Star Trek ideas combined. And it's the exact same thing of like a Spectre going out there, or like being like a Jedi or being some sort of galactic protector. But at the same time, the context for this series of events is taking place with the Protheans and the Geth and all these other characters and stuff, right? So obviously, there's a way to transform content that you really like, that you want to copy from. But when you finish your product, it ends up being different. And therefore, when you're looking through your library as a viewer, you go, oh, yeah, I want to watch The Matrix right now. I don't want to watch, Mr. Robot. Those are two different things. Even though I could be in the mood for a hacker fighting against the big system kind of idea. You can look for the same type of content with similar aesthetics, themes, or writing, or bisexual lightning, or whatever. And then...
bisexual lightning.
Yeah, that's the new thing. Yeah, but Fuchsia Mam's power is bisexual lightning.
Sith Lord is a bisexual force lightning.
Yeah. Men and women are almost the same.
Bisexual lighting.
Anyway, so yeah, the point is that if you're a good writer and you like something, or you want to make a detective novel because you like Sherlock Holmes, the idea is how do you make it unique and interesting? So the question I put to you guys is, how did Rian Johnson make his plagiaristic, because I'm not even going to say plagiaristic, just copy. How did he copy things and transform them? Or did he just copy paste them without any kind of alteration for the sake?
He kind of just made them worse. Like they were different because they could have made them worse overall. So that's the change I think he made.
The one I always think back to, like a recent one I remember is, did you watch The Mandalorian, all of you?
I have.
Episode 4, not the best one out of the bunch, but that's the one when they arrive at that planet and it's being attacked by, the village is being attacked by raiders, and it's basically a stripped down version of the plot to Seven Samurai, where the warrior comes in and he teaches the farmers how to fight back against the raiders. I'm trying to remember the plot. Basically, because in Seven Samurai, it's a village that requests protection from bandits. So he gathers up. The character gathers up other samurais to help him, and they teach the townspeople how to defend themselves.
Yes.
Kind of and that's exactly what happens in that episode of The Mandalorian. So I'm wondering how much plagiarism that is as opposed to tasteful. What's the word? Callback or tasteful homage.
It's funny when you have the Magnificent Seven Samurai, or you have A Fistful of Dollars, you have Yojimbo, you have these different films that I think they know copyright wise that it's a copy. They admit to it, or they go to court over something like that. And yet those films as plagiarisms or whatever legally are still individually interesting in their aesthetic. I mean, the difference between Yojimbo and The Fistful of Dollars is black and white to color. It's swords and guns. It's like there's a substantial amount of difference. It might as well almost be a different genre completely, but it's not, because there's so many similarities in those experiences and those cultural landmarks. The idea of a Ronin samurai, the idea of a lone cowboy, those are very similar things in the cultures that if you were to build the entire culture up and explain that specificity, it'd be very difficult. But because you can show it in a movie, because you can liken it to something like that, it's very easily identifiable. And like I was saying before with The Last Jedi, the way that it copies things, it's not creating a new, unique, different thing that makes it so that even if it is a copy or a plagiarism, those two things can exist in the same space. You could watch Yojimbo and A Fistful of Dollars back to back. It's like different characters, different movies, but it's like they're going through the same issues. So I wonder, because there's a fine line that we walk. We walk the line of study Shakespeare, study all Vonnegut's Shape of Stories, study all of the different the stuff we mentioned on Smud's. I'm sure Smud could add more, by the way, like different story structure ideas, different formulas and formats, or are you copying things and not understanding why? Which parts are you copying and which parts do you think is necessary? Because the more finely you cut something out and paste it and transform it, the less likely you're going to notice it. Or even if you do notice it, the more precision and the more artful the prose is going to be by taking it. Because that's what we're doing with our little writers thing. I hope we can get back to that. But like, we're trying to take ideas from previous Star Wars things, from other science fiction things that we like, from our own history, from personal life. It's not a magical process where we just like invent stuff out of nowhere. Ideas don't come out of a vacuum. And that's the issue, is that you have to be able to, as a writer, I feel like if you have an idea that you're influenced by, you have to present it as your own. And to do that, you have to find out what the central core personality of your writing is, I feel like. And to Rian Johnson, I feel like the central core is that he didn't give a shit about Star Wars. He just wanted to do...
He's wanted his own thing.
Yeah. That's what I get out of it. I don't know what else there is. If you guys can inform me, like, I don't know why Ryan decided to take on that job of Star Wars that's not about, oh my God, it's the best thing to do for my career. Other than his career.
I think basically he just wanted to make his own sci-fi thing. It's like how I think the showrunner for Star Trek Picard wanted to make his own sci-fi thing. They just didn't want to do the work to do it, to get there. They wanted
Alex Kurtzman.
Yeah, it's him.
The fucker.
They just wanted to jump onto a franchise that already had built-in fans. And then insult the fans.
Yeah, because I'm trying to think. Because there's another case of Shiny. It's the exact same. Do you remember the Clone Wars episode, the Bounty?
Yes,
season 2.
Yes, that one. I know.
It's the exact same thing, and Dave Filoni admits, like, yeah, this was inspired by the
Seven Samurai
or Seven Samurai, whatever it was. And it's like, yeah, look, we even got 7 people together for it. I think it was mainly because it was paying homage because one of the writers for the film died recently at the time, and George Lucas was a huge fan, so he was like, yeah, okay, we're going to do this episode and just be like, hey, yeah, this was in memory of whoever it was. I've forgotten their name.
Mm-hmm.
And I always get confused between what would be considered sort of paying respects and what would just be, yeah, I'm going to take that idea and do it the exact same.
I suppose for that specific episode, there's definitely arguments for both. But maybe going to another episode like the Zilla Beast, because that is a much more... which pretty much is Godzilla and King Kong. That is, I would say, regardless of what you say about the episode's quality itself, the episode, the ideas from King Kong and the ideas from Godzilla have definitely been transformed into something different. It's this, obviously it's very obvious where the inspirations have come from, but it's not just straight ripping. And I'm afraid I haven't watched Seven Samurai, so I can't tell you how much ripping has been done by Star Wars in that one episode.
Let's see here. DJ Voices brings up a good point. Then the Trek ripped off Mass Effect. Star Trek really ripped off Mass Effect. It's really, really bad.
Yeah, they did that.
How bad they did that.
Somebody needs to make a video about that, because I don't know very much about Mass Effect. So
there's Major Grin did it. He made a video, just a complementation of like all the different similarities. And honestly, I just don't care about Picard enough to go through all these similarities and the problems of the. It's just sitting down for too long, and I can't be asked for that. I prefer to write about something which I'm at least more passionate about. I never thought I would never say I'm not passionate about fucking Star Trek, but that's the times we live in now.
Everything's ruined.
It's all ruined.
It's Midnight's Edge After Dark. Welcome. Good morning, Electro Devil. Well, good morning, Midnight's Edge After Dark.
Hello. Very good to see you here. Glad you're up this early.
Is it after dark?
It certainly is after dark and before dark, the next dark. That's true.
Siege Cannon from TLJ is lifted from The Last Airbender.
Oh, that's funny. I never even thought about that. That's probably where he got it from, though.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. So there's that little laser thing that they're like, it's miniaturized Death Star tech. That the thing that's like and then in the Siege of Ba Sing Se in Avatar: The Last Airbender, the Earth Book series, they have this giant drill that they're trying to drill into the wall because it's this impenetrable walled city, and then Aang has to go out there and defend it. But at least Aang actually did something. Imagine if Aang just like flew his glider directly into the center of the drill, and then another glider came and it was Katara, and she's like, "No, Aang!"
That's how we're gonna win.
Wasn't it established that none of the weapons could actually destroy it, which they ended up having to destroy the internal supports for the engine or something like that?
I know, right? It's good. Oh, keep going. No.
Let's see here.
Well, are we going to cover the stolen fan art? Because Xcart Ladder has really done a hell of a lot of research into this, and my God, there is so much stolen fan art in Star Wars that it honestly makes me feel sick. Not in the films themselves, but when it comes to the comics, the role-play books, and it is it's horrific. It honestly makes me feel sick knowing how much has just been lifted from fan works. Everything. There was a poster for The Last Jedi, The Rise of Skywalker, which was just straight up using a render by I thought it was called now Fractal Sponge. If you don't know who Fractal Sponge is, he creates some absolutely magical and great looking 3D models. And he did one of the Star Destroyer, which has become almost very famous. You might have seen it without even knowing that it was unofficial Star Wars material made by Fractal Sponge.
Interesting. Yeah, but we'll go over the fan art. I think we have a little video on it right here.
That is one of the later videos, and it doesn't go over everything because there's so many videos he's done on it.
Check it out. Go, just play.
Hey guys, this is Eckhart's Letter. Hello and welcome to another video. And I know you guys might be thinking, Eck, it's sure been a while since you've covered any art theft or plagiarism topics. Does that mean that you really ran out of stuff to cover and that the problem was much smaller?
Welcome, Spud Boy. Welcome.
Good morning, everyone. How's it going?
This clown.
Oh, pretty good. We're going over the fact that it seems like Rian Johnson ripped off a bunch of fan art for The Last Jedi.
I wouldn't be surprised. He probably doesn't have many creative ideas.
No, this video specifically, while the other article you were looking at was talking about things that Rian Johnson on, this video in particular is talking about things like the comics, the books, the role-play novel, the big role-play rule books for the tabletop game, all that kind of stuff.
You know what? I'm not too offended by that because obviously he needs ideas, and there's nothing wrong with stealing from better artists. But
no, in this case,
everyone's better.
The comics and other secondary materials are straight up ripping fan stuff, like things that fans have made through a 3D modeled, rendered, drawn, all that designed. It becomes very blatant with how much they've been doing it.
See, there's two ways to do that. One, you literally just steal it and don't tell anyone, or two, you actually pay the guys who did the job and say, "Hey,"
but they didn't pay them. There's other people taking the credit for the fan work, which is the main issue that Exceled is having. And he's been making videos on this for the last, I don't know, maybe the last year. There is so much. I don't think he covers it all in this video, but there are just so many things which are just being pulled straight out of fan fiction, fan designs, and fan art. I've got a book behind me. It's called the Imperial Handbook, and a handful of the drawings in that aren't even drawn by the original artist. They've just been straight up stolen from very talented artists.
Well, that's the thing that's the thing I'm interested in right now, because you have the idea that Star Wars is a brand that's owned by Lucasfilm, and then what they have the right to say this is our content is interesting to me. Well, like if you design fan art that's that's to them in court could be called plagiarism. Like, oh yeah, that's a tie-in inter-chapter, whatever. Like it's some
one thing,
invented shit.
I know you're on about with the legality.
But
I know you're the legality. There is no legal standing for that to say this fan art is, mine. I can't go out and make a 3D model of a Star Destroyer and then say, hey, look, this is mine, Disney, you can't have it. Because obviously it is their IP. But we're talking more about the ethics.
Can they use your work?
But we're talking more about the moral ethics.
No, but I want to know. I want to know if they have a legal court case that they can go like, all right, yeah, we can totally take your fan art and use it because your fan art is not yours. That would be. I want to see that case. I want to see them say, you drawing something does not make that your intellectual property, because then they're basically saying that the idea is more valuable than the actual object, and that to me is very questionable because I don't think that that's true. I don't think that the idea of Star Wars is more valuable to. Like monetary wise, I don't think that's I don't think the value of that supersedes the value of the idea that everybody is sharing. Like you can own the intellectual property in that you own a design, but I don't think you can own every piece of property that's associated with that design. If I draw a Star Destroyer on my car, you don't own my car. You know what I mean?
True, but there are cases where, and I've forgotten, maybe Shiny knows more. Is it there was a guy by the name of Fractal Sponge?
Yes.
Who came up
saying
with his own stuff, but it ended up being made official, I think, after Lucasfilm reached out to him and be like, "Hey, we want to put this stuff in a book."
No, he was not. So what happened was, so I've got the Imperial Handbook right here, right behind me. If I can, find it and reach it out. So the Imperial Handbook had certain. God damn it. Let's see if we just get it out from under all this fucking pile here. So there was certain renders and drawings of designs, which here it is. So there's some which are just straight up renders which have been taken from Fractal Sponge without credit, but there's also there's a render of the Super Star Destroyer Executor, but it's not the Super Star Destroyer Executor at all. They've taken the wrong ship, and the ship they have taken is. I'm looking at right now is a straight up render and fan design taken from Fractal Sponge himself. See if I can find the actual video. And the funny thing is, it looks nothing like an Executor. The Executor is the Super Star Destroyer from Star Wars. If I can just find it properly.
Or Empire.
Anyway, something that I'm trying to figure out though, that is like, you have not figure out. My mentality, and I think the mentality of fans, is a little bit different from people that are buying these things as intellectual properties and trying to find a way to just monetize them as much as possible. Because in my opinion, when Star Wars was being handed over, this was a new opportunity for somebody else at the head, for some other group of people, to consider everything that had been done up until that point and figure out if they wanted to add in this, take out this, or keep this, or what have you. There are a lot of different principled stands to make, and there wasn't one that was made. If you wanted to bring fans into the content, they could do that. If the people that make Star Trek at Paramount wanted to bring the Axanar people in and like go, hey, we actually like what you're doing. We want to create a project that's about supporting fans and creating more Star Trek content because we want to keep the fandom going, because we're going to be making our own content and we want everybody to be happy.
That actually kind of happened in Japan with Dragon Ball Z. There was a guy who made fan fiction manga of Dragon Ball Z, and he was the guy. I think he was the guy who wrote Dragon Ball AF, and now he was hired on to write to draw the official canonical works.
There you go. That's awesome. Like if you see that somebody is meeting some standard, or they have a product, or they do something that's impressive, I think that should be picked up. That's that kind of Wild West internet or artistic environment I think that we're in. There's people that do unofficial content that's better than official content at this point, and that's a sign of how bad the industry is.
As opposed to they hired a guy with talent who could actually mimic the style of Toriyama, mimic the story structure, as opposed to how Marvel does things, which you have the same haircut as the main character. You never wrote anything before. It's like poetry. That doesn't matter. You have the same haircut. You can come on with it.
So something I'm curious about. So what about a fan design specifically? One which is not. So obviously there's a difference between drawing a fan design of a Star Destroyer, which is straight up just a Star Destroyer from Star Wars, but a unique fan design which only shows certain elements and
Right.
similarities. What about that?
I'm looking at what you're showing me. I mean, when you ask me that, it's like it's tiered. It's a tiered question. I'm curious at what the law says because I think that the big companies abuse the law all the time. They'll go, "Oh yeah, that's a Star Wars thing," even though that you drew it. You know what I mean? Even though the design is not the same. Well, how many elements of something need to be changed for it to be the same? That's every fair use argument. That's every plagiaristic argument in court, and it's obviously not something that you can solve like that. But you were saying morals and ethics. Obviously, morally and ethically, don't take other people's fan art and put it in your shit without compensation. Hire them to make more stuff. That's what I mean. If somebody wanted to make glib art and they came to me and I go, like, I like what you do. I want to pay for more of that. Here's what I want. That's how I operate. And that's how I would operate if I was running a science fiction. And maybe one day I will get the opportunity to have my own franchise. And if somebody makes really cool fan art and I admire their art, I'm going to absolutely, it's going to happen where I contact them and I go, hey, can you keep doing this? I'll pay you because I like this. This is feeding it. Because it's like what Kubrick was saying. There's a great narrative about Kubrick making his first movie. And he was really exasperated during this one sequence that they were shooting. And he was super upset about how everybody was going to be overworked and there wasn't enough money to do this, this, and this. And everything was kind of going to shit. And what he did was he just called it. He went, you know what? Everybody go take a super long lunch. Go do your thing. Enjoy your afternoon. We'll just pick it up tomorrow. And then, you know, he basically just gave up that day. And one of the actors came over. Someone came over and was like, what's that about? I thought, you know, this is all this money that you're wasting. I thought that it was such a big deal, all that stuff. And it's like, he said, you know what? At the end of the day, I'm the only one that's going to get anything out of this. I'm going to be the one that's going to use this movie as the next stepping stone to my next director's job. This is suiting a specific purpose. So all the other people, the actors and all that stuff, they can enjoy the afternoon and do all that stuff. They can, where they really want to be. When we go and we work tomorrow and we finish this, I'm going to be the one that stands to benefit the most. So what I got from that is that if you're in charge of this project, you have Star Wars. Every decision you make is in benefit to yourself and that project. It's like those two things are the main things. So if you have a fan that's presenting art that can help your project, then you should obviously integrate that at least, or consider that and try and work with that into your project, because it's somebody that's trying to improve your content. You're the one that's going to profit from that. The small potatoes that you're going to pay for the rights to one piece of art that you want to put in your, wow, you makes a great ship. Let's pay Shiny to just, can I have the rights to that? How much is that? A couple $10,000 at the most? What is it really? How much do you want for this design? It's going to be small potatoes compared to paying the actual guy on staff to design an art. It just doesn't, it's malicious or incompetent to not treat your fans well and to not treat the artists that are independent of your project as potential contractors.
The bigger part here is that there are people which are making money. So the person who stole this work and put it in this book right here, even what's more painful is that they stole the wrong work. That they are claiming this is an Executor Star Destroyer when it's very obviously not, because you can see the Executor Star Destroyer, it doesn't look the same.
Well, obviously you can tell that they don't care enough to focus on the names and stuff. They just threw it out there.
Well, that's the legal aspect, right? Where you're actually taking something from somewhere else, which is the same aspect of doing it legally. Let's say through Getty Images when they bought that photo of Tali Zora for Mass Effect 3. It's like it's a stock photo. It's like fine, but you're still cheapening the product for the end user who has to play the game or watch the media and go, oh, wait, I know what this is. They did the same thing with the ending of with the Buzz Aldrin or whatever the speech he gave with his little the grandson and the grandfather, and it's a picture that you can find on Getty Images again. So it's like we see a pattern. It's like, yeah, we can just spend $100 on a photo and put that in our AAA game. And they did the same thing with Star Trek Picard, that flashback thing.
Oh yeah, those fucking stock photos that they just threw a little effect on.
I knew one of them was a stock photo. I didn't know they used like 5. So it was like you can tell there's a drop in quality because they're not willing to take the time and say, hey, let's do this properly. Let's do proper transformations of morphing from robots to a human or an eyeball. It's like no, let's just buy it. Throw it together in 2 hours and call it that. It's like, that's not what we want. We want quality storytelling. We don't just want stock images.
What's
I
so weird?
suppose the
It's
reason.
Sorry, go on, Johnny. No, go on.
I suppose the reason why I'm like, it really pisses me off is because I have a very I have a soft spot for artists, and being a visual effects artist myself who does stuff with 3D work, I very much have a lot of respect for people who put time and effort in to create something beautiful, especially when it is a product of passion. You didn't, Fractal Sponge didn't have to go out of his way to design this huge ship that has so many little details and greebles. And honestly, this is far beyond something I could make right now, at least. And I have so much respect for that. And then the fact that it has now been taken and someone has put in their book, I made this, I drew this, I got paid for quotation marks drawing this, and their credit is at the back of the book. They say they made it, and now they're just making money off it. Like, that is what pisses me off.
No, they're Disney. They can do whatever they want.
Stealing, but
too powerful. Too powerful.
It's kind of like I don't like people, because there are certain people online who they go somewhere and they say, oh, look, there's a 3D model. Oh, but I don't want to pay for it. It's like, bitch, people put work into that. If they want to charge money for it, don't say, hey, fuck you, I'm going to try and get it from somewhere else. No, it's like, fucking pay the money. So, oh my God, you have to pay $7. Oh my God, that's so terrible. When this person probably spent hours building this thing.
Well, it's funny, and this is going to be a slight insight into my life, but and I know it's an anecdote, but stay with me. Before I finished university, I was big spoiler. I was a huge nerd for certain board games that were being released, and at the time
no, I'm just kidding.
Okay, I still am, less so now, but I ended up falling in love with a board game created by a company, and there was a lull in the production basically at the time, and the way they do it is they release out the base game, and then to keep it relevant they release a wave 2 of new content, and then wave 3 and 4 and etc. There was a lull between wave 2 and wave 3, and people were just sort of like, I want more content for this game, and I was like, I do too. And because of what I was studying, I had access to Photoshop and Illustrator. So I basically went, you know what? I can make my own shit and just post it online for people to enjoy. And as long as they've got a printer, they can print out all the cards and have fun. So I did that for months, essentially. And then one day, the company in question who hold the rights to the game were like, hey, we want to speak to you. Can you come down to Manchester? And initially I was thinking, oh, shit. But they ended up bringing me down. They were like, why did you do this? And I was like, I don't know. I could do it. I enjoy the game. I had all these ideas, and I had the free time. And they said, okay, you can't do this anymore because you're going to do it for us. And they hired me.
Nice.
And I've been working with them ever since until now, where I'm on furlough because of coronavirus.
Right, of course.
But it was weird because the game in Reason was called Dark Souls, the board game, and of course Dark Souls is held by From Software. So while I wasn't part of the company, I could give it away, and because I was giving it away for free, I was making no money out of it. I was just sort of like, yeah, post it to Facebook and Reddit, and say, here you go, print it off if you can, enjoy, let me know what you think, and I'll do more. But there was no worry about plagiarism because of it. But now that I'm actually hired by the company, I can't make stuff anymore and post it online because I officially work for Steamforge, and if Steamforge, if From Software find out that a member of Steamforge has been posting more content that they didn't approve of to be released for people to play, I get it in the neck from whoever the devs are From Software. So I've had to stop, and it's just funny to think about. And I have no idea how it works.
It's actually pretty cool though that they actually came to you and say, hey, look, this is cool, we like your stuff,
Well, it was funny. The guy contacted me. He was like, yeah, are you such and such? And I was like, yeah. I was like, right, okay, Mr. Connolly, we want you to come down to Manchester. The higher ups have stuff to say to you. And I was like, oh, fuck me, what have I done? And then there was basically, they had a nerd fest going on, and then the developers pulled me to one side, and they were like, why'd you do this? I said, it was fun. I liked it. Like, okay, would you do any more? And they sent me away with a problem to figure out, and I came back to them 2 days later, and they were like, yeah, okay, you work for us now. That cool? I was like, I mean, yeah, fine, sure. And that's just how it came to be. But it was fine. I assume they could have like taken what they saw online that I posted and been like, you know what, that's a really good idea. We have the money to print out the models and the cards and all that. Why don't we just take this idea, tweak it a little, and just run with it? So
it's like,
it was,
yeah, you made this. I made this.
I made this. This is mine.
This whole thing is pretty much just the meme of you made this, I made this. And again, before we go back,
I wasn't sure if I'd even have a leg to stand on if they do that, because I'd be like, I designed this boss, and they'd be like, yeah, well, From Software approved us to make this game, so no. And I'd be like, oh shit. I wouldn't know if I had a legitimate claim at all. If I made fucking Quelaag and as a boss, which didn't exist, and then you went, you know what, let's do that. And I go, hey, you can't do that. It's like, why not? We've been hired to do the game.
There should definitely be laws that should be put in place to protect fan works, because obviously, like right now as the law stands, there is no protection for it. And I think as long as they're not making money from it, and as long as they are doing it through their own, as long as they don't make money from it and don't infringe on the rights of the holder itself, and everything they are doing is 100% original and they're not taking anything from the original creators, then there should be protection in place for those artists.
Yeah.
But before we get into this video, as I want to say, what this 8-minute video is going to go over doesn't go over everything that has been happening within the so it doesn't go over a lot of the points, a lot of the fan artwork. This is more just an update because he's found more artwork that had been stolen. So just before we get into that, this is why he made the video. Again, he's been doing this for about a year with so many videos going on about how Disney has been taking all these fan artworks for Star Wars.
There's been a lot then. Let's hear.
There's been a fuck ton.
Alex Halo, thank you much too. Ryan rips off people like Disney rips off the Lion King. Ooh. Seems that way, yeah. Remember that Lion King, the whole thing about the Lion King, them ripping off Kimba the White Lion. You ever hear about that one?
No.
I heard of it.
Yeah.
I don't know too much about it though.
They might have done it. Because it has some similar elements to it. Yeah, a little bit.
I just want to conclude with that thing that I think that I've spent so much time behind the scenes of films and television shows and all sorts of media content, shows and everything. And then I've spent a huge amount of time, the vast majority of it, as a fan of things with other people that really like stuff. And my experience has been bringing those two things together. It's kind of the syncretic relationship. It's the symbiotic circle or whatever he says in prequel trilogy. If you don't have fans, you don't have an income source when it comes to entertainment. And if you don't have content for the fans, then they're not going to show up. So you have to keep this cycle going, or once you've reached a nice equilibrium and you have a beginning, middle, and an end of a story, or you've done the show, or you have the product, then you can go on and move on to the next product. What you can't do is shit on your fans, reproduce the same content as before but worse, and then call them racist, sexist, homophobic bigots. It doesn't
do that. Who would possibly do that? Let me think.
I couldn't possibly fathom a guess.
Showing devotion does not create an IP that inspires devotion.
No, not at all.
Because I wasn't the only one making this kind of content, but from the company's perspective, if they saw all of that and they reached out to all these people and just went, hey, slap them on the wrist like, no, stop that. And then everyone goes, oh, okay. It's just, I don't really like you as much now. I'm not going to buy your stuff. And then they'd be like, oh, what do you know? Inspiring people to be creative with what we've done actually is profitable for us.
Imagine if, like, so one thing that I originally believe is George Lucas was really a big fan of the fan films that were being made. And he initially even supported them with official sound bites and clips from the films, which could be used publicly.
And they had awards every year.
Mhm.
And he would personally select which one. He had an award category all for himself. Like, this is George's pick.
The best way I can say is that the fan passion is very much at the heart of any fandom. And if you do anything to, you can either fuel that passion more and your fan base grows and it gains strength,
or sustains itself.
It's a way of self-sustaining. It's a way of increasing that passion and sustaining it and being able to just grow it in so many ways, because it's kind of pulling more people. The bigger it gets, the more people it pulls in. And that's Star Wars is absolutely huge today. And I think if there wasn't this fan passion and this creativity behind it, the fandom wouldn't be as huge. It's like, imagine if they did what Star Trek is doing now to its fan films by saying, hey, you can't do this, or you can't make this, that, and the other. You can't have real actors. You can't do this. You can't have. It can't be over 20 minutes. You can't have more than 2 episodes. You can't have, basically.
It can't be longer than 20 minutes.
Yeah, a fan film.
You can't have if the actors in one film, they can never act in a fan film again.
Yes, so any film. It's not even in Star Trek. So, like, say, a Star Trek actor cannot go into that, as well as any well-known actor.
Because they started to actually hire people that were in the originals, because they were actually. It's so hilarious, because what Axanar proves is that the barrier to entry is money. That's it, guys. You want to make a movie? Go get a couple $1 million. That's all you need, really. Now, you might not actually make a movie if you don't hire the right people and spend that money correctly, because that's the actual production aspect of it. But pre-production, you need money, you need the idea, you get that going. Production, you get it going. And the thing that bothers people is that a lot of actors that are out of work, that want to work, that want to be in things, want to revisit characters that they've been in. And the irony is that fans want the same thing from the fan perspective. And yet people that are producing the content don't want the same thing. And what I don't understand, and I've been trying to figure this out for years, and I think somebody else could probably figure this out way quicker than I can. Because it's so sad. But the idea is, like, you have the person that's making all the decisions that should be the culmination of all of these different ideas. The fan, the worker, the artist, the writer, all of these different aspects of human personality that are required to create this phenomenon known as the fandom, or whatever we are, that kind of thing. The person that's in charge of all of that is making decisions that all the rest of those people are going to get upset about. And so why are they in power? What is putting that person in power? How does that happen? What's the root of that makes it so that, like, we're going to put Alex Kurtzman in front because he works for J.J. Abrams and they did the Star Trek 2009 movie. Like, so why is that still happening? Why is Zack Snyder still making DC EU content? It failed. It objectively failed. You can like it, but it didn't work. And the Star Trek stuff from 2009 from Into Darkness hasn't worked. Star Wars hasn't worked. It's not like this isn't an argument. It's they did not hit the marks they wanted to hit. Now what? You want to keep fucking up, or are you going to move on and hire some people that that you may not like their politics, but they're going to fix the content? Like, what are you going to do? Are you a business or are you an activist? What is it that you're trying to do with Hollywood? Are you trying to teach everybody a lesson that you have to follow a certain mindset and characters have to be a certain way? Or are you an entertainer and you're trying to make people laugh and do that kind of stuff? Because I don't see the same personality in Kathleen Kennedy that I see in, Edgar Wright or a Christopher Nolan, somebody who cares about the actual art. People that are just there for the money should get out now.
It seems like the Hollywood is turning into one gigantic activist. They just want to, like I said, mentioned earlier. It's if they lose 10,000 people in their audience, they didn't lose 10,000 audience members. They lost 10,000 bigots, according to their views.
If only those stubborn nerds would stop bullying the multi-million-dollar corporations and leave them in peace to hack out inferior garbage designed to siphon money from idiots and strangle what positive emotions still are in existence.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, so it's all, and I love that because it's like you get inundated every day with people going, "Oh, the fans, they're harassing this person, and they're so toxic, a toxic brood fandom," and we just wear it like a badge because we're so used to that in every aspect of our internet existence, being reactionary chuds, da da da. But you know what? No, we're not the bad guys. Unfortunately, the people that are doing all of this stuff, that are saying these things in the media about regular people, like some person that's making a cake and it's like, I love Star Wars, or I want to put Spider-Man on my son's gravestone. Like, if you're against that, you're probably a really bad person because the only thing in this kid's life that ever existed, Spider-Man, the thing that kept them going for the short amount of time that they were on the planet, you can't put that on their tombstone because of copyright law. That is like Lex Luthor shit. That's like, no, you can't put it on that. Fuck you. You know what I mean? Like, wow.
That was one thing that Lucas, I remember in his interviews, he was talking about that there are kids who are on death's row and they just want to see the latest episode before it's released, the latest episode of whatever. And that was not just a few kids. That was thousands of kids. Like Lucas could not believe it. He was like, whatever this does to people, it's working. And it allows them to live for like 8 or 9 more months when they were supposedly supposed to die that week. So whatever you think of Star Wars or quality or this or that, it inspires people.
Exactly.
To breathe.
As much as people,
we joke that it's a movie about space which is intended for children. But it's much more than that. People really like these things. These movies are not disposable. These are important movies.
And you know what's funny? It's like, oh, you know what? It's disposable. If somebody wants to say that, if they're like, it's just a movie. What's your problem? I'm like, well, why are you even talking then? This is the passion conversation. It's like if you go to a bunch of chefs that are talking to each other. And I know we bring up the food stuff all the time because it's usually like high energy so I have to go eat after all these projects or whatever. But any group of people that are into cars, whatever, go and walk up to them, bunch of skateboarders, and they're like, man, yeah, so I saw Nigel the other day. He's got a sick 360 flip. He's so good at catching that board. And then the other guy goes, why? So what? It's just a 360 flip. Like, do this. Like, that doesn't even matter. That you're a bigot. Like, the people that are entering the conversation that's already ongoing. I have a bunch of people who are talking about something that they care about. And, like, you can only care about so many things passionately. Like, how many people latched on to Star Wars or a Harry Potter or any kind of fictional piece of art or, I don't know, the Bible or the I Ching, any kind of piece of material that gives them some sort of text that they can work out the mysteries. Well, no, I'm not saying that. I'm saying text. I'm saying that text and performance and stories of any stripe, fictional, non-fictional, are kind of what people build their personalities and their understanding of reality on principled levels, on morals, on understanding the human interactions between people, consequences, and what it's a blend of idealism and realism. It's where imagination meets reporting of facts. And if we're going to debase that, then what kind of people are we? What kind of person looks at an entire art form that has been used to communicate ideas throughout the thousands of years of human history that has been recorded? The very definition of recorded history is writing things down. Right? So it's really, really important that we keep this process of new imaginative, what the future could be like, what the past was like, what morals exist in new technology. All of these things are what we do as writers. We conceive these things. We spend our life. And I think that what people are doing is by devaluing the art, they're also devaluing the efforts and the very existence of all the people involved in it. From those kids that watch it that are going to die and they just want to live for the next Star Wars content or whatever it is. And we owe them something. I think we owe the people that invented the art that we love something. And that owing to me is the replenishing of the well. It's the idea that the next people that come along, they'll be able to have you know what I mean? It's sustainability and reproducibility. You have an experience, you want to share it with other people. And what I think people notice is when they create things, they notice that one person, you write your book, but 100 people could read your book. So it's a multiplicative effect. Then activist types, they get associated with this and they want to put one message out there and just control all of the lanes. And yet all these lanes are opening up so that anybody can come in here and say what they like. Oh, I like the Clone Wars. I like, the Old Republic. And you can go and take that lane. But if you control all the lanes, then everybody feels stifled and stuck. Like, man, I have nowhere to move now. I have nowhere to put my fan art. I have no way to put on YouTube a fan film series that I just wanted to put together because I like the original Star Trek. Like, it's constricting people's imagination, which then creates a negative environment. And that's what we're fighting against. We're like, can we please go back to when everybody was interesting and interested in content? That's all we want.
And just imagine all the things, just remember all the things that have been actually influenced by Star Wars and Star Trek, all the real life things. I mean, I've met more than one person who has launched their entire career of writing and got into writing, then into creation altogether because they saw Star Wars, because they saw Star Trek, because they watched a certain movie, read a certain book, or watched a certain television show that sparked their imagination, said, hey, I want to go do this. I want to write about this. Maybe watch a movie where they said, hey, I want to grow up to be this guy. I want to be a hero like this guy. I want to be a hero like Superman. I want to stand up for the little guy like Superman does. I want to stand up for the little guy like Captain America does. So many people have watched, read, and viewed these things, and have taken massive inspiration to that alters their lives. So when they say that these are just space wizards movies intended for children, they're saying that and dismissively, as if nihilism. That's why nihilism doesn't really work all that well, because nihilism is just meaningless. Everything is disposable. Nothing really has any meaning. Well, the thing is, this is life. Nihilism is not actually how things work. We as human beings give meaning to things, even if it's meaningless. How art kind of works. Some people might see a vase. Okay, other artists might see a huge piece of inspirational art, something that inspires them to create something clever and interesting. And that's how it works. Okay, it's not disposable. Entertainment's not supposed to. It's not supposed to be disposable. In fact, I would argue that modern entertainment, the idea of disposable media, that's something you just watch once and throw it away forever, is kind of a modern thing.
It really is. It's plastic cups.
And Market 3D, thanks for the 400 internet huffs. I will say it's a pleasure to listen to this conversation. Awesome. Glad you're liking it. Awesome.
I was going to say that. Yeah, one of those people is me. I was inspired by Star Wars and Clone Wars, and through that passion, I don't know if we should really get into the proper long-winded details of like how it really has changed my life. But I wouldn't be here without it. I wouldn't be. So I wouldn't have rebuilt my life from the ground up after I failed on my educational levels. So it really does have a very significant power on people, because I wouldn't be going to university in September without Star Wars. And just say, maybe we should focus on the video that we're going to be focusing on rather than this whole whatever happens here, this tangent. We love our tangents here.
It's all about stealing fan art. That's what this is about. It's like at the core of stealing fan art is the idea that you are the copyright holder and therefore you are the god of the entire franchise. And it's like you're stepping on the little ants that are beneath you. Like, haha, this is mine now. You can't have this.
Yeah, it's like, hey, fuck you.
Let's check it out. There we go. Everything is good to go.
Let's do it.
Than you initially suggested? Well, no, of course not. And for those who haven't watched my other videos in the series, basically Star Wars has been found time and time again to continually use fan renders and models for ships and vehicles especially, instead of actually illustrating their own content. This problem is especially common in comic books. We actually found a panel from the Star Wars Allegiance comic which blatantly traced a fan's ship models that they were using for physical ships, like for a Star Wars tabletop, to the point where you could actually see the pegs that the ships would stand on. I've been working with another person to...
See, John Doe, the Apple engineer that created digital music format and led to iTunes, was inspired by the episode of TNG where Geordi was listening to music in a shuttlecraft. See, there you go. Interesting stuff. See, these franchises, even though they are fiction, have influenced people like that. They've influenced people who wind up making huge, little to huge changes in our everyday lives.
Mm-hmm.
It's not disposable. They're here for a reason. We can take things and take lessons from them. Let's see.
slowly catalog as many of these examples as we can find, and I can confidently say that there are literally hundreds, if not thousands, of these cases. The one we'll be talking about today, however, does not come from a Star Wars comic book. It comes from the cover of Collapse of the Republic, which is a source book for the Fantasy Flight Star Wars RPG. And before I continue, I have to give a massive shout out to my good friend Corey for pointing this out. As a note, Corey has some of the best Star Wars channels on the internet. Right now, his lore channel is at about 20,000 subscribers. I would really like to get those numbers up. And if you subscribe to him today, you'll be able to catch his video on this topic, which will come out tomorrow or the next day. Even if you're not interested in that, Corey puts out probably the most in-depth pure Legends videos, so if you enjoy that on my channel, you'll love it on his. Let's get that 20,000 number up. Anyway, Corey pointed me towards an ArtStation post by our good friend of the channel, Fractal Sponge. Now, I'm sure many of you know who Fractal Sponge is, but if you don't, he's probably the most well-known modeler and fan artist within the Star Wars community, at least when it comes to spaceships. And Fractal Sponge isn't just a fan artist, actually, because several of his ships, including the Secutor, the Allegiance, the Assertor, the Bellator, and more, have actually made their way into Star Wars canon. And Fractal Sponge's models are so good that this is not the first time.
I want to point out they didn't go through canon by asking the guy. They went through canon because of stealing.
So yeah, that's what I think the whole thing is about, right? They just go around and steal everything from these fans.
It's canon because it's in this book here, and some idiot didn't realize that he was copying the wrong fucking Star Destroyer when he just straight out took the render and said, "Hey, look, I drew this."
Eventually, I'll probably try to put together a compendium of all of his stolen work, although that would take a very long time. But in one video, we covered how his Assertor Star Destroyer was blatantly stolen for a book and actually labeled the wrong ship. Fractal Sponge, however, hasn't just modeled his own ships. He's also taken his shot at modeling official Star Wars vehicles, like, for example, the Imperial Star Destroyer, which too, because of its high quality, has been stolen and placed on various official and unofficial pieces of Star Wars merchandise or works. As Fractal Sponge's recent ArtStation post pointed out, and I'll link to that down in the description, the stolen culprit today is a beautiful model he made of the Juggernaut, the wheeled vehicle from Star Wars Episode 3. So when he posted the model, he actually included several different angles, a few of which I'm showing on the screen right now. And as you can see, this is an extraordinarily highly detailed render. It's largely consistent with what we see in the movies, but there's also a lot of detail that's unique to this specific Juggernaut. If you look at, for example, the paneling on the front of the vehicle, that is an artistic liberty taken by Ansel rather than something required to be on the vehicle. Now, if you're an art thief, the good thing about Fractal Sponge's work is that he posts all of these really high quality models in a variety of positions. So not only did the artist for the back cover of this Star Wars role-playing game supplement use his vehicle once, they actually used it 4 times. And Fractal himself posted...
So I guess do you think he could technically sue because they're not?
Man needs to start putting his.
It's not their IP. Because if it's original stuff, then they can't use it.
No, the Juggernaut itself is not an original design. So it's some of the Star Destroyers that he made that were stolen. Yes, they are original designs, but the Juggernaut itself is from official Styles material. It's just that he has modeled the tank and he's used creative liberties to slightly alter and change it to use specific details, and that's how you can identify where the fan art has been stolen from, because of the specific details from the models themselves that have been traced.
It doesn't even look like fan art. It looks like a actual payroll art, like from some canonical artist.
I mean, to be fair, there's nothing stopping him from just putting, what do you call it, watermark on the models he releases. I mean, he may not want to, but that would...
It would solve the problem. No, because you can still trace. You can still trace around the watermark.
Yeah, well, you'd have to take it into Photoshop and all that. But yeah.
As long as the image is viewable by any means, they can straight up trace it. And I think you've accidentally just skipped it to the end, Literal Devil.
No, an accident. It unmaximized, and it's like, okay, I might put it again. I think it's right here, around right here.
Yeah. So these are the things that the models that have been traced from his renders.
This is terrible.
Let's see here.
With the rest of the scene. But still, the image is dominated by work that was not created by the person who was getting credit for and who was getting paid to illustrate this cover. But you guys know me, when I see this happen once, I always suspect that it's probably happened more than once. So I took a look at each of these vehicles, and the first one that really jumped out at me, just because of how it was placed, was the Republic Y-Wing. And wouldn't you know, within maybe 2 minutes of searching, I found the actual source for this Y-Wing. You can tell it's the exact same, mostly because of the detailing in the canopy, which matches exactly, but really shouldn't, and because even some of the lower poly features, like this little thing here on the side of the fuselage, are brought over to the image. I quite like the Y-Wing model, by the way. It's by Admiral Tributon over on Sketchfab. I'll link that as well down in the description. Looking at the other ships, the Acclamator does seem to be an original creation. At least I couldn't find the model it's based off of. Of the Lat gunships, at least one is based off a still from Attack of the Clones, which personally I think is completely fine. But at this point, we just have to ask, what's the point of buying these books if the art is basically just somebody rearranging existing models?
Clone Wars, because there's a very specific detail from the Clone Wars that's on the LAT that are different to the Attack of the Clones gunships. So the Clone Wars ones themselves, they're fully sealable. They have 2 doors that retract each side, and they don't have laser.
I thought the Clone Wars ones didn't have the bubble turrets hanging off the side like that one.
Yeah, the one at the back, yeah, that has one of the turrets, but the 2 that are in front of it, they don't have the bubble turrets. And in fact, you can actually, the one at the top definitely looks like it's been traced from Attack of the Clones, because you don't see the second door, but the ones that are closer, it has the second door where the bubble turret should be, because it's supposed to be sealable for space, and they couldn't make the bubble turret work if they just straight up had the door there.
Here's the thing, I'm less adverse to the idea that someone has taken a model of an original creation that came from the prequels. So if you made a model of the Juggernaut,
there's a different
model, but that's different because it was a prequel idea to begin with. It's different when you take someone's original idea and then put it in and be like, this is ours.
It's fine. It's fine if you trace from the films. Well, at least in my book, it's fine if you trace from the films, because in the films, the artist who has built this L-80 gunship, or from the Clone Wars, or ever, they have been paid to do that work. So really, that's fine. Okay, they've been paid to do it. It's now owned by Lucasfilm. That's fine. But the fan art themselves is definitely what I have a more problem with, because they haven't gotten paid. They haven't given permission at all.
And Fractal himself even said this isn't just a theft, but this is a lazy theft, with no attempt to repaint the asset, just essentially magic wanding the background and slapping a filter on. But to me, laziness is only part of the issue. It really does suck that we're paying for all this Star Wars material, sometimes based on the quality of the covers, which frequently does steal fan art. But there's the greater issue of the ethics of taking something that's not yours. Legally, does Fractal Sponge and the hundreds or thousands of other artists who have had their stuff taken have any right of action against Fantasy Flight Games or Disney or Star Wars as a brand? It's hard to say. Morally, however, it's clear that Star Wars knows when they use fan art, they should be paying the person. I mean, they commission.
Star Wars is not a thing. It's not alive, Eckhart. Stop it.
It wouldn't be a fault on the Fantasy Flight, because if they're anything like the way Steamforge works, you need to basically ask for what artwork has been approved, and the company will send you a big file of like, yes, this is artwork you can use. We approve it. We've gone through it with legal teams and say, yes, you can use this on your work. So Disney would have provided these images to Fantasy Flight for them to use. And Fantasy Flight may not even know. They've just been like, okay, these are the assets we can use on this thing that's been approved by Disney. Let's work it in.
And see, John Doe says, this is why you never upload your art at full resolution. It's like posting your source code. Always make it twice as big and post it half the size.
Yeah. But I'm also, chaotic good sometimes. Maybe I'll just give out my full resolution stuff and see what happens, because I like introducing a little novelty into the universe.
Yeah, sometimes you might want to do that.
It's fun. Imagine seeing your work for free in the Star Wars thing and be like, okay, number one, I can use this. Like, I can tell everybody that they ripped me off. And number two, I can show everybody that I'm in a book. Look at how good my art is. It's good enough to be in this official book. And they stole it from me.
It's good enough to be ripped off.
It's good enough to be ripped off. That's a great way to say to your agent, hey, let's get some money. And then you get an agent, and then your agent has lawyers and stuff. And you start to be a real professional. And you can start poking these guys in the ribs that are trying to steal your work.
I think we got the notion of that video so far. I think we'll go ahead and end the stream here at 2.5 hour mark.
Sounds good.
Here, Friday, I think we're going to have a new, a second Tropes versus Orcs episode on Friday.
Oh, beautiful.
I'm doing.
I think what we should do, because what we have Shiny, right? And we can do some Star Wars stuff. We should have like a Star Wars talk. I think that'd be fun. And then we have Tropes versus Orcs. We should do fantasy talk over there, and separate them a little bit, and that'll be a way to. Like, I like talking about those two things separately. So if you guys want to do something like that, because I've been trying to think about how to do Tropes versus Orcs, but I also think that Shiny could do like a nice Star Wars Clone Wars conversation talk thing at some point.
That sounds good. Sounds good.
Well, the only problem with me streaming is that no one's going to be watching it.
That's fine though. We should do it anyway. Do it. I mean, we'll all show up. I mean, I'll show up. So anybody who wants to watch me and my two fans, will have 4 fans, and then we'll be good.
I'll bring my one fan, and then there you go.
And voice, we got to do something. We got to do some old school radio stuff.
I think maybe the Devil could just tweet out, say, "Hey, look, I'm live on this channel." At least we'll maybe get about 10 people.
I think we'll figure it out.
I know chat. I know this chat enjoys all of us. So. We thank you so much again, Literature Devil, for coming on the Glib Show. No, I'm just kidding.
Thanks for inviting me. Thanks for inviting me to the Glib Show.
I have a question. If we're going to call it Tropes versus Orcs, what is mine going to be called?
Think about it.
Oof.
What is it that you? What is it? How do you think that you like the format of your conversations are going to be? And then we can change it.
Have no idea.
You know how like the World Class Bullshitters, they have like the High Council or something like that. We could do something like that. Just think of something Star Warsy that's not too copyrighted. You know what I mean?
All right, then I'll try.
Yeah, sounds good. All right, thank you everyone in the chat for joining us today, and thank you Glib, thank you Voice and Radio, thank you Shiny for joining me on the stream. And
yes,
I hope you all had at least an interesting time, and thank you Smud Boy, even though he had to leave early to go to lunch. I'll talk to you all later. Chat. I'll talk to you all later, Glib, Voice, and Shiny. And I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day.
You too.
And